So it's gonna take YouTube, like, I don't know why it always takes YouTube a solid 25 hours for the stream to show up, but it should be up any second. I'm gonna wait a second, have some people dive in here. Dive on in here.
Come on in now.
Come on in,
Water's
everybody.
fine. Water's fine.
Trickle in, trickle in.
Trickle on in. Water's warm.
Dude, nothing like some warm water, man.
I don't know.
Some lukewarm water.
I've been missing out on some lukewarm water.
Really?
Yeah, like I didn't pay Eversource, you know, because like they're being trash. So like, you know, now I'm cold all the time.
That's a struggle, man. 2020, you know, 2020.
Yeah, that's
shitty year.
Struggle, bro. One day YouTube will wake up. One day. Might be tomorrow.
One day. I honestly feel it, man. As you know, I also stream in the YouTube community.
Does it take so you do it a lot more than I do. When you hit the stream button, does it always take like 5 minutes for it to exist?
Yeah, it depends. It really depends. It really depends. Sometimes I'll be sitting there and I'll be like publishing the whole thing, going live, all that jazz, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, wow, I probably should have done this like 10 minutes early so I could be on schedule.
It says it's private. I'm gonna call the police. But it says public right here. I'm looking at it. I'm not lying. It says public. I'm calling the cops.
Calling them. Oh, dude. Relox here. No, man. I hope I said that right.
Working? Relock. I can't see chat or anything. Everything says private. Do you guys see the stream is actually loading for you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It just popped up for me on there.
Yeah, I can see the stream fine. Yeah, I see everything.
This must be that exclusive.
It must be. See, I don't get it. Like, I'm the one I'm streaming. I'm the streamer, and it's private for me. It's my stream. I don't know what's going on, man.
No, it's our stream now. Yo, what's up, Frame Rated? What up? Yeah, we taking over now.
That's almost like a picture-perfect frame-rated impersonation, actually.
Honestly, I couldn't have done it better myself, and I am he.
That is I.
That is I.
And I am he.
I'm he. So, I guess if the stream's up, but I can't see it, I'm going to have you guys be like my communique to the chat, because I can't see nothing. I don't know what's going on.
Well, Relock says you're actually the best streamer of all
looking it
time.
up on your phone?
Oh, thank you, Relock. If that's true, I appreciate you. Welcome to the party, man. Missed you. It's been a whole week. Like, what the hell, man? What's been up? I don't know how many people.
7 whole days.
I usually wait till like 5 people jump in before I start getting things going, just because I don't want people to miss the beginning.
Jesus.
I might just do this blind.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Our boy Nick Williams donates $10 right off the rippo. Nice to see you, Nick.
Bro, Nick Williams, you don't have to, man. I much appreciate it, man. Your support, your continued support, I should say, means the world to us, brother. We really appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by.
And since you still can't see it, it's a little hippo and a gaming chair, and he's doing 360s. That's the little avatar in the donation.
That's clean.
It's clever. It's clever. That's what I look like every time I win a Valorant game.
I've actually yet to play that game.
Oh man, hop on it with us.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, I've heard both sides. I don't know. I'm scared.
Come on, man. Click some heads. You know how it is.
Oh my god, I can see the stream now. Oh, life is here.
Yay! Fall Guys is a fire game. 100% recommend. Absolutely get Fall Guys. Relax.
It's free on
Fall Guys.
PlayStation Store
literally
right now.
Is the game of the year right now.
Yeah, it's free if you have PS Plus.
Just make sure I'm not in that lobby though, because I'm getting W. Crowns on crowns.
Damn, that's a huge move. If that's really free, wow, I'm impressed.
I forgot the other free game this month. Fall Guys and something.
Hey, you know what? I'll take it though, because like, the more great games people can play without having to pay money for it. I mean, of course, games as a service is a thing, and we talked about that. What was it, last week? I think Jake and I went in on it for a little while, where it's like they can do it in a good way, or they can completely take advantage of people. But like, damn, I'll take it.
Yeah. Oh, it's Fall Guys and Modern Warfare Remastered 2 campaign that came out.
Shit. No shit.
Oh snap! Wow,
it's pretty solid.
They're making
pretty
moves.
solid
I
month.
think they're doing that definitely because Microsoft's like, ooh, Game Pass, games of gold. So I think that's like a good way for them to kind of, I don't know, compete with that as best they can.
We're on the same team here, man. Just let us play some games.
We just want to play games.
We just want to play some games. We're all on the same team.
We're gonna just dive right into this. Let's just dive right in. The water's warm. Jake was telling me the water's warm. I'm diving in. I've been having cold water for like the last week now.
Warm.
So, y'all
Warm.
probably have heard, right? Halo Infinite delayed to 2021, y'all. So, what do you think about that? You think that's a good move from Microsoft and 343, or you think that's gonna have a lot of repercussion that's not worth it for the brand?
Who wants to start?
That's open. That's an open. If you have anything to say about that, that's an open question. I want anybody's opinion on that. That is just free reign opinion.
Well, then
I'm kind of like mixed. I'm like between both. Like, I think it's a good idea because like a lot of games that are coming out nowadays are kind of, in my opinion, half-assed and require like so many extra updates just to like fix the game and stuff like that. So I'd rather have a game take longer and have it be pretty much not perfect, but in that aspect perfect when it actually fully launches. So you don't need like an update every like 2 weeks.
Dude, that's the crunch times, man.
Yeah,
That's the crunch times.
What are you thinking, Dub Peak?
I think that I also agree that like I like when games are delayed just because I know that they're going to come out more polished. But like I don't really know what else is coming out really around that time with the launch and everything. So I feel like they might want to. I guess they can't really push it, but it'd probably be better if it came out with the launch.
Here's the thing, right? You got Master Chief, who's like the face of Xbox. So I mean, like to delay that with the launch of the new consoles, bold. I think it's the best move they could do because you know what? There are a lot of great titles that come out that can keep all that afloat at the same time. Like we've talked about it the past couple weeks, all the nice titles that are going to be coming out at launch. So I mean, I think there's plenty of games there to keep it afloat until Halo really comes out and drops what we really expected it to be. So that's perfectly fine with me.
Yeah, so you both bring up really good points because like they don't have anything to sell in terms of AAA first-party exclusives day one, and that's like the first. I mean, when's the last time that's truly happened? So that's gonna definitely hurt sales. But at the same time, Miyamoto from Nintendo probably said this best: a delayed game, a game released too early and is a bad game is always a bad game. But a bad game delayed made into a good game will actually one day be a good game. So you kind of, it's hard because even if you're open-minded to the delay or the release day one, you can understand both points of that argument. You know, it's very, because I mean, we're gamers here. It's a great year to be a gamer, and there's so much stuff coming out. And just like what Relock said in the chat here, can we get a huge rip for Xbox? This game looks like, hold on, I can't read my chat. My chat is like half so.
Oh, no.
What does he say after this game looks? I can't see beyond that.
Looks like all that's good for next gen Xbox, and it got delayed.
Yeah, so that was a huge gameplay thing. Like that was one of the major pieces of gameplay they showed at that show. We've been talking about it forever. They don't show freaking gameplay. Sell us the console, damn it. They didn't show us any gameplay besides Halo, and it was immediately received negatively. I mean, look at it. No ray tracing day one. No, God knows what other system software features that they weren't utilizing day one. And the game looked like a current gen game because the Xbox from 2013 also has to play the same game. And
yeah.
I think a lot of people are missing that. That's going to hold it back severely because they have to make it work 60 frames per second, not just for the new powerhouse, but for the old. I mean, that thing is, the OG Xbox is 1 week console, man. Even when it was released, it was weak. So when you consider all of that, it's just really hard to say, like, you know, shit, they should have just released it. But at the same time, like, shit, they should have at least over 5 years had it be ready. They had 5 years and a $500 million budget.
Right, that kind of speaks to the studio. That's just a blunder on their end. I mean, if they're going to be wanting to get it out with the launch of it, I mean, this should have already been done. I want to praise them for taking that step and delaying it and taking that extra, you know, putting heart in it. But I mean, if they knew that the console was going to be launched around this time, I mean, it should have been ready to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Because literally, like, Xbox is Halo, like that, like made the system.
That's That's huge facts right there. Go back to the OG Xbox in 2000, right? 2001. If it didn't have Halo Combat Evolved, would 360 have ever existed? Would the Xbox One even ever? We don't know. And the odds are, I mean, based off the sales, and if you correlate Halo 1 and Halo 2 sales with not just the Xbox, OG Xbox sales, but Xbox Live sales, those two games made both of those things succeed and be what they are today. It would.
Exactly.
It's hard to say that would even exist, or at least as we know it, if it wasn't for that. You know what I mean?
Brother, Master Chief to Xbox is Mario to Nintendo, man. Bread and butter. You can't be. It just should have been. It should have been in place already.
That's 100%.
I think that's why everybody's disappointed. It's really not disappointing, and I don't think they want to link up the Xbox Series X with this title because this is just the studio's blunder on their end. I don't want that to take away from the actual sales of the system, but unfortunately, I think it will hurt a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know if you guys are on Twitter, but if you're on Twitter and you follow Phil Spencer, oh my God, it's toxic. I don't believe in cancel culture, but people are literally just, no, I'm not buying an Xbox now. No. And I mean, I think it's silly because, like, if you like the platform and that's where your friends are playing, just still stick with the platform. Like, if they don't have PCs and they have Xboxes and that's what they're doing, you should always stick with your friends because otherwise you're going to just play alone. I mean, the best single-player console to get, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people agree, is the PlayStation, right? Like, Dubpeak, you're a PlayStation guy. You play PlayStation, and you told us earlier why you're getting a PS5.
You're up on it, yep.
And what's your number one reason to get a PS5? What's your number one, would you say?
The number one is the exclusives. The games that it has are just like top level. Besides like a few that Microsoft has, like Halo and Gears. But besides that, yeah,
right.
PlayStation.
And now they don't have Halo, and all they have for Gears is maybe an announcement for Gears 6, which isn't coming out anytime soon, and Gears 5 just redone at higher fidelity levels and performance levels. That's all they have for like two of their mainstay franchises for the launch of this console. And they were going to launch one with most of the features that make next-gen upgrades worth it not present. It was going to be like what Benji Senpai said earlier. He said that they're going to update it every 2-3 weeks, maybe once a month, and add these features over time. But that's doing exactly what we all, for the majority, I believe, dislike. Stop releasing games unfinished.
No, it's the worst. I wholeheartedly agree that Sony has way better exclusives.
Yeah, they got, I mean... They have the Last of Us 2.
Oh,
saving
my
just
God.
for PlayStation 5. Have you played Dubpeak? You played Last of Us 2 yet?
I 100%ed every single second of the game. Yeah.
Damn. So that's your thing. So you're gonna buy a PS5 and you're gonna play Last of Us 2 over again. Probably like what, hardcore mode or something. You're gonna play that game again on the.
Yeah, I played it. I played it on the hardest difficulty, and then I just heard that I think this week they came out with an even harder difficulty, but I don't know if I'm ready for that. It's like you get one life for the whole game, I think.
Oh no, I wouldn't play that because I would lose my PlayStation. It would be broken. There's no way I'm getting through that. That game was hard,
PlayStation's on its last legs anyway.
Yeah,
it's screaming.
You got the OG PS4?
I got it on like release pretty much, so it's
man.
loud.
Yeah, that's screaming.
It's screaming, poor boy.
See, and that's why, so next gen, and like people have been saying like Xbox more powerful, get Xbox, like they're both very powerful consoles, especially when you compare from the first generations, like the OG PS4 and the OG Xbox One. The PS5 is a little over 7 times more powerful graphically than the PS4, and the PS4 was the king of the crop back in 2013 when it released, being 50% more powerful than the Xbox One. When you say it like that, it's crazy what they're going to be able to pull off for these exclusives, because Sony has always put out amazing presentation when it comes to their exclusives. They have these studios, high talent studios, creating crazy detailed games with so much I want to say life in these worlds, and now they have that with 9 times maximum more power. Like that's insane.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Like,
bro, they just absolutely, like Infamous, like Shadow of the Colossus. Like, there's so much Ratchet and Clank that it's untouchable.
Yeah, Naughty Dog's gonna go crazy with the new stuff. Bangers. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, with The Last of Us 2, I think they're gonna get that ported out pretty quick. But Nathan Drake, I don't know what they're gonna do with Uncharted, but I can only imagine what an Uncharted game is gonna. That game's all about Vista. Like that accessorizes that game, and that game's gonna look amazing. I can only imagine.
I would love to see that coming back for sure. That'd be crazy.
I think we will. I definitely think we will. But I think we can all unanimously kind of agree, like Halo Infinite, it's a two-way street. Like it sucks that it had to get delayed and it's gonna hurt the console. But at the same time, it's like understandable. It's literally like a 50-50. And it sucks for people who were super excited for this game and like people who didn't care about the other games. They just wanted to play Halo, and now they can't do that. I personally think that it's not a reason to not buy an Xbox if you're planning on it, because it's still, it's a powerful machine. It's got 2080 level graphics in there and all that other fancy stuff. So games that, if you're not a PC gamer or you don't have a high powered PC, you're not willing to spend $1,200 on a equivalent or maybe even more depending, then I mean, it makes sense to play your multiplats on there. If you want the best out of it, like your 4K TV, for example, you just got one of those. You want to max out the resolution. You want to max out the frame rate. Multiplats are going to have their maximum fidelity on a system like that. So I think people are being a little dramatic, but I do agree with DankVibez. It's probably going to hurt sales. I agree with Dub Peak. It's tough because they should have released it. But they should have released it finished 5 years, $500 million.
But there's still so many other bangers, though. There's still so many other titles coming out.
There is.
It's like I honestly am okay with it just because there's so many other titles coming out that I'm excited about.
Yeah, hopefully it comes out and like everyone gives it positive reviews and it just boosts their sales.
Tell you what though, if it does mess up after delay, oh man,
yeah, that'll kill it. That'll pretty much kill it.
God, let's knock on wood, because like I'm hoping both consoles do really well, and that way people see them for what they both are, and the things that they both do really well. I hope it just shines, and I hope like the console wars kind of fade away as much as possible anyway. And on top of that, people just get to the point, enjoy the games. Let's enjoy what's coming out this year. This year's been full of hate and full of just craziness. Let's get something good out for us gamers, right? And, I'm going to ask VG or Benny, your name switching up, confusing my brain cells. Benji Senpai, what game are you looking forward to? We all been talking about Halo. We have other games we're excited for. I don't think I've heard for you a game that you're super excited for besides Halo. Now that Halo's out of the picture, what are you looking at to get?
For like which console or both?
For the Series X.
For the Series X, based on what the showcase showed me, probably Avowed is gonna be my number one game for sure.
I am excited for that. I keep forgetting about that, and I don't know how. I apologize, everybody who's excited for that game. That game looks like a huge deal. I do keep forgetting about it though. Anybody know when that game is rumored to be released? I haven't heard anything. If anybody knows anything, feel free to definitely.
I haven't heard anything either, but yeah, I'm just like, that's the one game I'm most excited for. So like with the Halo thing happening, it's like, yeah, it's a bummer because like I've been a Halo guy since Halo came out. I've always played Halo. And so it's like, it's a little bittersweet, but at the same time, like what DankVibez said, like there's so many other titles that I think it's still going to do well.
Yeah, so I think we're all just super hopeful then that everything works out well for both consoles. So with that being said, since we have our opinions there, I'm going to kind of just move down the line here because this kind of ties into it in a certain extent. So the Xbox Series controller, Series apostrophe, it got leaked. Supposedly somebody went to a house party at an executive's house from Microsoft and they had the controller sitting out on a desk. Now, I don't believe for a second that was by accident. I feel like it's kind of like a get everybody hyped, but like we're not officially saying anything kind of thing, because number one, there's a pandemic, so who's having parties? And number two, like that's some, you have to sign an NDA for stuff like that. Like you're not just gonna have it sitting out in the open for everybody to come over and see.
It's like a real weird leak, man.
It's super weird. I'm gonna put it up on the screen right here. So this is what you're seeing. This is gonna be the new controller in its white color, robot white, for the Series X and the OG Xbox, and of course Windows. This is kind of where they're going with. And on the back of the box it says Series X and S. So inevitably the console is going to be announced. Like it's been rumored for a long time, and there's a lot of insiders that say it exists regardless of what anybody else says. It exists. And this literally confirms it. Like this is it. It's going to be a thing. So Series X and Series S copying the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S, also PS4, PS4 Pro style, what do you guys think about a dual console ecosystem where you have a more budget entry level system that provides similar experience at a lower resolution, maybe even performance, and an option that's more expensive that kind of gives you that enthusiast, like the max level details and performance? How do you guys feel about that kind of ecosystem? I know PlayStation isn't doing it this time around. How do you think about Xbox sticking with that?
I mean, I think why not, right? I mean, like we're all trying to say we're on the same side, right? So I mean, if you can't afford like the full, hardcore gamer Xbox, then why not get the X? Or like, I don't see why not.
Yeah, for sure. For someone that like can't really afford maybe the more expensive one, doesn't really care about graphics, that's definitely a good option, especially for parents and stuff. So that's a good idea, I think.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And Benji, you had the OG Xbox for a long time, and then you upgraded to the Xbox One X kind of more towards the end of this generation. So going from a standard console so late into the generation where games kind of max out their true potential at this point in terms of hardware and optimization, did you notice a huge jump in difference going from the regular OG Xbox to the One X?
Yeah, I mean, I've had Xbox for pretty much my whole gaming life, like from that old Xbox, and then like going through the 360 days and all that stuff, and then getting like the regular just Xbox One, and then upgrading to the Xbox One X that I have now. It was just a huge jump, and it was just like I kind of wasn't prepared for it. And like when I got the Xbox One X, playing the games on it, and I was just like I was like happy because I was like, okay, everything looks better, runs smoother and stuff like that. But at the other time, it was just like, this is like getting like the advancement of these consoles, or it's like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like it's getting like too far in advance, too early in my mind.
Yeah, some people are conflicted in that kind of. So you have people who are starting to say, the diminishing return in consoles is starting to get a less noticeable. AKA, going from a PlayStation 2 to a PlayStation 3 or Xbox original to an Xbox 360 was like, that was a drastic jump. Like you went from just basic voxels and really low quality textures and like 16-bit mapping and all these crazy things to full HD resolution and dynamic lighting and post-processing. Like all these effects suddenly exist that didn't exist before, at least in the console world. So people are like, you're not going to see differences really like that as much anymore. But at the same time, in just 2 years, they went from a 6 teraflop GPU inside the Xbox One X to over a 12 teraflop GPU in the Series X. So in less than 2 years, effectively, doubling the performance. Because you got to imagine when the One X was near the end of its creation, the Series X was starting development. So the One X wasn't out for a while, and then the Series X started development, and then they new tech existed, and they got that thrown in there quickly. Like this tech is being researched in advance before current tech is even out. Like they're already talking about RDNA 3 and hell, even RDNA 4 architecture, which, to keep in mind, the Series X and the PS5 use RDNA 2 architecture, which doesn't even exist on a PC yet. You cannot buy a graphics card with the same architecture that those two new consoles have until probably the beginning of next month. Maybe even, I lied, maybe the end of next month, beginning of October, and those are going to be like the $800 cards, not even the everyday consumer level cards that you would expect out of your average Joe. So, they're always I see what you're saying there. They're always ahead of the game, and they're always implementing new technology to kind of cut corners. Because again, diminishing return, you're not going to get a game. You're not going to get a PS2 to PS3 jump, from an Xbox One X to an Xbox Series X with just raw hardware. And that's why this generation, we're seeing a lot of things like ray tracing being incorporated, variable rate shading, mesh shaders, the geometry engine on the PS5. Like there's a lot of software and hardware enhancements that you can't really just put down on paper in terms of like, how does this perform? You can't give it a number and give it a rating. It kind of speaks for itself and how the developer can artistically work that with the graphics in a game. But essentially, this generation, I think ray tracing is going to really be the thing that drives it for us. I'm sure you've all seen ray tracing, right? Everybody here,
for sure.
And like, even look at Minecraft. It's a box game, arguably one of the worst looking games that is still commonly played today. But you turn on ray tracing, and it's still Minecraft. but it's a good looking version of Minecraft, right? Like it looks insane. So imagine that on games that are already really good looking. Flick that switch. I mean, I'm sure if they had it in Halo Infinite, people would have had a way different opinion about it because the lighting was partially the reason the game looked bad in the first place. Digital Foundry kind of dove in on that. And if they had activated ray tracing, that's literally what ray tracing is. It's lighting properties done in a realistic way, similar to CGI. It probably would have changed everyone's opinion. Console isn't even, the game's not even launching with it. They have to delay it to possibly next holiday, even June, in order to get that fully up and running. But that's where you're going to see the real difference in this generation is ray tracing, things like that. And Dub Peak, what actually, now that we're here, because this is, go ahead.
I don't mean to cut you off here. I do got to head out. It was a privilege.
Oh yeah, everybody in the chat, sure to say happy birthday to DankVibez. He's getting older, 1 year older today. Definitely go check his channel out. He's going to be heading off. He does streaming all throughout the week. Good vibes, playing some games. Go hang out, have a good time. But wish this man a happy birthday and give him a birthday subscribe and check his content out, all right?
Appreciate that. Love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Yes, man. Love you too,
Thank
brother.
you, sir. Happy birthday.
Night.
Later, brother.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, so Dub Peak, what kind of computer are you running? Like now that we're talking like parity between console and PC, do you have like a higher end video card in there?
Yeah, I have a 1060, I think, or 1070 Ti, I think, or something
nice.
like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I upgraded my PC probably like 2 years ago. I was running an older one that had like I don't remember what it was in that. I think it was a 970 or whatever it was. And yeah, I have a pretty beefy PC, I'd say. So I've been enjoying kind of just switching back between console and PC. I play both, so.
Yeah, I'm the same way, and Benji, you're the same way. You know, you're back and forth. I've seen you play. You've been playing MMA, right, on your Xbox? Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been playing the new UFC game that came out on the Xbox, and I absolutely fucking love it.
And that's a game that's not out on PC, so it kind of like, I mean, it forces you to jump on Xbox. But Benji's, you know, he's the same way as the rest of us. He'll hop on Xbox, hop on PC. Mainly, one thing to keep in mind, it's wherever the friends are. Wherever the whole squad is playing is where most of us will typically be. But I think it's important to have not only a powerful computer that can play some games, but to have that console preference. Because sometimes there's nothing beating like sitting down on a couch and playing games like the good old fashioned days. Like something about that's just super appealing. And I mean, hell, Parody Paradise plays with a controller. Even on PC, he plays. It doesn't matter. Like controllers, his thing.
I do the same thing. Certain games, I just can't use mouse and keyboard. Like certain games that we play as a squad,
I'm the same
like
way.
like I plug in my controller because I'm just more comfortable with it. And there's certain games where, it's not bad. Like I used to play Overwatch on the PC with a controller.
Yeah, so I mean, it all comes down to preference, and there's certainly a learning curve to it. Like, I'm one of those people that once I get used to one, I can't go back to the other. So when I touch a controller now, I'm garbage. Like it's embarrassing. I might as well not make content for console because it's so bad. People flame me immediately. But so that's one thing about next generation. I think a lot of people are going to be doing versus other generations because there's so many people on gaming now for PC. And there's a lot of people who are going to be buying one of, if not both of the next-gen consoles. And as a result of that, I think next generation is going to be the biggest generation when it comes to interplayability. You're going to have people on PC and console. They're going to be back and forth between the two. And it's going to be one of the more inclusive generations we've ever seen. I mean, they're talking about just make content for the player. Make everything for the player. Xbox even says the player's at the center of everything we do. Sony's doing the same thing. They just don't have to vocalize it because they say it in their games. I mean, realistically. So in that case, the Series S being a entry-level console is going to give a lot of people the ability to buy a more affordable next-gen, diving into that and still have their PC. So we're definitely going to see that a lot more. But for spec breakdowns, have you guys heard the rumors of how powerful this thing's going to be? Like, do you think it's going to be more powerful than a One X or a PS4 Pro? Or do you think Microsoft's kind of lowballing it here?
Honestly, I don't. I believe that it's going to be more powerful than the One X and the PS4 Pro, but not to the high caliber that they're promoting it. Like, it's still going to be powerful. And it's still going to do the things that obviously those consoles don't do right now. But at the same time, like, I just don't think it's gonna like absolutely blow it out of the water. But it's definitely going to be an upgrade.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I kind of heard like the same thing where it's going to be a little bit better, but it's not going to be a huge jump. So that's kind of what I heard too.
You guys both nailed it on the head. Parody Paradise been a little quiet. He's doing some parody Photoshop over there. Parody, are you gonna be getting picture this, all right? This man's got a nice man cave. He's got a nice little gaming setup down there. He's got 2 TVs side by side, 2 55 inches. So Parody, you're kind of an example for this set. Like, are you gonna buy 2 Series X's to plug into that, or are you gonna buy a Series X and a Series S, get them side by side?
Yeah, I'm gonna get them both and put them side by side. I'm definitely gonna do that.
So each different one. That's a good idea.
Yeah, why not? You know, best of both worlds. I got both. I got the good one and the
entry level one. Save some money, but still get the same generation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So on the screen then, Dub, Peak, and Benji, you guys both were spot on when it comes to the specs. I have the specs up on screen. Now keep in mind, Series X obviously confirmed. That's what it is. Series S unconfirmed. However, unconfirmed data is from reputable sources that confirmed the Series X specs like a year before it was actually officially announced, and they were spot on with all of it. So I want to say we're looking at an accurate representation of what we're going to see for specs. And for those who don't know specs, I'm going to kind of just break it down here for everybody watching in the chat. So CPU-wise, supposedly it's going to be the same exact CPU that you have on a Series X. And for a console that's supposed to be $250, $300 rumor price, that's insane because that's the same CPU that I have in my desktop. That is a Ryzen 7 3700X underclocked slightly. And that CPU costs $330. So if this console costs $250 or even $300, the CPU alone is worth more than that by itself in terms of like-for-like PC equivalents. And the reason why they're doing same CPU is for optimization purposes. If you think about it, if you have all these crazy high-level fidelity games with all these AI and all of the like massive worlds and an experience that we're just not used to yet because of those bottlenecks in current-gen consoles, then it doesn't make sense to limit one console from being able to enjoy such a feature and making companies spend more money and time going back and editing those things out and making it accessible to a weaker console. That would actually go against the weaker console and is the fear a lot of people originally even had when this got rumored in the first place. So good news there. Same exact CPU supposedly. The only difference we're probably going to see, and you'll see it there listed, is the GPU and the RAM. And the GPU is supposed to be a third of the speed of the Series X. And on paper, it's 2 teraflops slower than a 1X, but because it's the newer architecture, it is actually a little bit faster than a 1X. But that's just on paper. You'll notice at the bottom under velocity architecture, including velocity architecture as well, you have the DirectX mesh shaders, you have variable rate shading, you have the direct machine learning, and also a rumored of 6 to even the same 13 teraflops worth of ray tracing performance that the Series X has on top of that. So you have a 1X replacer that's a little bit faster GPU-wise, that has a bunch of features that never existed and will never exist on the 1X that make games play and look a lot better in general. On top of that, combined with a CPU that is no longer bottlenecking it. So a lot of people who were skeptical about this console, I think this right here shows exactly why there's nothing to fear when you're targeting, a 1080p resolution. I know Benji and Parody, they're both on 1080p screens. Dubpeak, your monitor, is that a 1080p or do you have like a 1440 or a 4K?
Nah, I'm at 1080 right now, but I'm looking to upgrade. But yeah, I'm at 1080 right now. So
that's exactly it, though. Every single one, all 4 of us here have 1080p monitors. And if you look at the stream survey, 86% of people have 1080p monitors. So, in TVs, they're definitely getting there. A lot of TVs are starting to become 4K and they're more affordable, but there's still a lot of people with 1080p TVs as well. And that's exactly what this console is going to aim for, is 1080p 60 frames per second, while the Series X is aiming for 4K 60 frames per second, and then of course up to 120 depending on the game, but we'll talk about that later. But and the GPU and the RAM scale perfectly in that aspect. The GPU, when you remove the resolution, the GPU doesn't have to work as hard to hit that same 4K resolution as the Series X, and as a result you're probably going to get very similar looking graphics while just having a lower resolution. Same frame rates, same graphical details, draw distance, shadows, etc., just a lower resolution, and obviously made for that massive 1080p audience that's going to be playing on this console. And then on top of that, you have the RAM, which scales identically with the GPU. You have 6 gigabytes less, but it runs at the slower speed that the Series X has for its smaller partition of memory, which again removes the optimization issues that people feared and game development companies have to spend extra time and resources on to work around. That's no longer needed, because at best speed you just have to worry about the Series X's lowest common denominator, and you have less memory to work with, but that's okay, because the higher the resolution, the more memory you need. And there you go. Boom, there's the difference. It's just scaled down. So you're going to get the same graphics, the same features, super fast SSDs, games loading in a second, no more load times in levels, switching between games at will. You're going to have all of those advantages with ray tracing. Just one's 4K, one's 1080p. I think that's a genius way to go by this generation. I'm glad you guys both, or all three of you, thought that this was a good idea when I first brought it out, because I'm starting to see a lot of people are like, why would they do that? And I just don't think a lot of people are understanding this. I'm glad you guys did without me even saying anything. So I think that's a game changer, because that allows people to go next gen without spending rumored $500. You have 250, 300, you want to go next gen, and you have an OG Xbox from 2013. There you go. Spend half of what you did in 2013 and you have a console that's better than a 1X with all the same features that the Series X has, just at a lower resolution. I think that's genius.
I was going to say something too about that. It's like, I'm almost more sold on the S than I am the X. Like I said, like I don't have a 4K TV. I have a regular 1080p TV also with my monitors. It's like, I could spend $300 less on the S and get pretty much the same functions as the X.
Yeah, so Benny on it tonight. Benny's got all these good points bringing up. Love it, man. Good shit.
I got a couple too. I got you.
Well, okay, Parody, what you got to say? Back that up. Piggyback off that. What you got to say?
I'm just saying, like, I might get the Xbox Series S as well. I mean, what's the only difference? What, the GPU and the RAM, basically?
Essentially,
so, like,
for
the RAM,
scaling,
you can't change. Yeah, so you can't change the GPU. I mean, the RAM, you could open up the Windows Explorer app on the Xbox and go to iloveram.com, and you could literally just download RAM. I downloaded like 10 gigs. And it literally will you'll save so much money. It's so easy. So just make sure you guys do that. To all the viewers watching right now, I just want to let you know.
Oh my god. This is Dub Peak. So I skipped intros earlier because we were dealing with YouTube's nonsense and I didn't even know if we were live or not, or private or not. But Dub Peak, he's new to this stream, new to the show. This is exactly what you're gonna see whenever you come on the show, Dub. Like, this is very.
I see that now.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense though, because his name, it wouldn't suit him if he didn't show all of this in true glory, honestly. So Parody, that's right. Just so y'all know, don't go download more RAM on your computers. It usually will end up terribly for you.
Yeah, they got me when I first didn't know about computers. I tried to download some RAM and I downloaded a virus, and that computer rip. It almost burned on fire, so we're just gonna leave that.
Pop culture Slayer laughing at you. He says, "Love you guys, love you too, fam. Thanks for watching." All 13 of y'all in the chat watching the show. Want to just take a quick pause, say thank you so much for checking us out and watching us real quick. So I'm gonna
also I don't mean to cut you off, Dom, real quick, but just to kind of add on to the whole Series S versus Series X debate, even though, like, eventually I'm probably going to get a Series X, but like I said, like, I'm probably going to lean more towards the Series S, just based because, like, what Parody said is, like, the only difference is, the GPU and the RAM compared to the both. And it's like, like I said, I run on a 1080p TV anyway, so I'm going to go with a cheaper model with less stress on my TV, so the game's going to look smoother anyway.
Yeah, compared to, if it's better than a Series or a 1X that you have now, and it provides a ton of new hardware features that the Series X has that provide such a great new generation fidelity jump in the first place, save for 4K, which you wouldn't benefit from on a 1080 anyway, besides a super sampling. So with that being said, it's a logical decision, because for half the price, rumored, air quotes, of the Series X, you're going to get a next-gen experience. And if they came out with a price and they said, they even said $200 on this thing, which I don't know if that's going to happen, but if they came out and said $200, this is what you're getting, Are you gonna pre-order day one? That's something you're gonna hop on
Yeah,
immediately.
that's a steal. $200 day one. That's a steal.
Yeah,
For
it's-
all the pretty much components that come with that, that's a steal. Like you put into this way, if most people have 1080p, like you said, like most people that watch YouTube and do gaming on consoles don't have 4K TVs. Most 4K TVs are so expensive nowadays, even now. So it's like if you get the Xbox Series X, you need a 4K TV in order for it to run the way it's supposed to. But most people don't. Most people have those 1080p's. So if they're gonna rumor out that the Series X is gonna be $200, that's a steal. And especially with the whole Halo thing going around, that would be the smartest move on their end, is to make the Series S a little bit cheaper. Then obviously it's going to be a little bit cheaper than the X, but if it's rumored to be 200, that's going to help them with the whole Halo debacle if you do that as well.
100%. And see, the thing is too, the one of the things I appreciate a lot about Benji being on the show is I know he doesn't care too much about all the technical stuff. He just wants good games. They want to run well, they look good, and they're made well, and they're not finished, if you know what I mean. And having his input on here is crucial because he's that consumer that is focusing on giving me the best experience for the best price, and I don't care what you got inside of it, just let it be good. And I think you speak for a lot of people because most people don't know all the hardware I just talked about. Most people, probably even people watching this chat, I mean, I have a tech channel, so a lot of them probably know something, but there's people in here probably like, right over the head. They don't know.
Yeah, that's whatever you were explaining the whole time, like it just went over my head. And I'm just like, look, does it run good? That's all I care about.
Right. And that's great because I try to dumb it down, or not say dumb it down per se, but I try to make it easy to understand so that way it's not like numbers and stuff, because if I wasn't a total nerd with no life doing this all the time, then I wouldn't know any of this, and I'd be the same exact way.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Like, I'm not like a super tech nerd, and it's like,
right.
I'm a gamer. I want whatever I'm gonna invest my gaming career into, I want it to perform the games I want to play. I don't care if it's got 4080 Ti in it, whatever that comes out. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care what like graphics in it. Like, I care like when I built my new PC, when I got my new PC. Obviously I care about the performance and stuff like that based on what games I play. But I'm not gonna go into super details. Like, okay, at this moment, how many frames am I gonna get at this moment, blah blah and so forth. As long as it's gonna do the job that I want it to do, then that's fine with me. I don't care about all the technical. It's nice to know, so I know like what kind of machine I'm running and what kind of machine I'm playing my game on. But as just a gamer consumer, like, is it just gonna play the game right?
That's
so
church.
I have a question here for you. For Rated. So I have an 8K Quantum Dot TV. It's like a 65-inch. So you're telling me that this only plays 4K? That's the best it'll be able to play.
So I know chat, what do you think about this? Do you think he's trolling me or not? So here's the thing. I don't know if you're intentionally trolling me, but you're kind of not. If you are intentionally, you're actually asking kind of a semi-serious question, because both next-gen consoles, besides the S, because it's still unconfirmed, so I don't know what they're going to say about this, but the Series X and the PS5 are both 8K capable. They advertised it when they were both announced. And a lot of people are going to be like, that console's not going to play 8K, and maybe not. Like, maybe some 2D games, some like Cuphead on there in 8K 30-60 frames per second, possibly, yeah. But what they're doing is they're preparing for the future. So if you have an 8K television, both consoles day one will support it. They'll render your interface in 8K. Once they start popping out 8K on Netflix and Hulu, they will play those out natively. So you will experience 8K in all of its overpriced, magnificent glory whenever that becomes a standard. But the reason they're doing that is because when in 2013 the Xbox One and PS4 came out, they were only, of course, compatible with 1080p, no more than that. And when 4K started releasing less than 2 years later, of course, really expensive, it looked horrible. I don't know if anybody's played an OG Xbox or PS4 on a 4K display, but the upscaling is not good. Everything is incredibly blurry. It is very pixelated. You can see all of the cosmetic issues on a game that you wouldn't notice at 1080p, especially on a bigger screen.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you've noticed that?
Yeah, my brother got a 4K TV like a little bit after when it came out, and he had a PS4, and I was like, "This doesn't look good.
Right,
Why'd
like,
you get
I'm
this?"
confused. This is supposed to look amazing. It's a 4K. But what's going on here?
Yeah.
And
It's
that's
it's like running a 1080p on an Xbox.
well, exactly. It is, and it's just upscaling to a 4. So essentially, 4K has 4 times the pixel count of 1080p, and you're taking that 1/4 pixel size and you're stretching it to fit the 4K screen natively, and you're making those pixels spread out. What happens to a picture when you zoom in? Unless you have a crazy, stupid, high megapixel camera, it blurs, right? It gets blurry and pixelated. That's the same exact effect in real time on a game console. So immediately, 4K TVs started dropping in price, a year after the second year point, 3 years in. Series 1X and PS4 Pro were starting to be rumored at this point. 4K TVs were now more affordable. Realistically, they went from like multi-thousands of dollars to like 500 to 700 for, your 50-inch entry-level models. So people were starting to dive into 4K, and their consoles now look terrible. Plug in my 1080p because this looks bad now. And they had to make that a standard with the mid-gen refresh, the PS4 Pro and the 1X, in order to be compatible with that. So it's kind of like a lesson learned. Last week we talked about how Microsoft and Sony over the generations have made mistakes in hardware in the past, and they fixed that with each generation. In the 360 and PS3 days, it was not enough RAM on the machines, so they gave more than enough RAM on the new machines, but they chipped the processor. So the next gen coming up, they over-exemplified the processor to make up for that mistake. And now, here we are again with next generation TVs being supported day one, even though it's not realistic yet. But it will be 3-4 years from now, you know what I mean? So, Rob, that answers your question. That's actually a good question, so thank you for that. I don't know if you were serious or not.
I was serious, but like at the same time, because like I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to explain this a good way, but like I just don't understand how you guys would notice like the difference playing on the OG Xbox to the 4K, because like I used to have the OG and I played it on the like a 240p.
Do you have the Xbox One X or Xbox One, not the X?
No, I have the old OG one, but I'm saying like I didn't notice the difference from switching to like from there to 4K, because like back in the day I played on a 240p like SpongeBob SquarePants TV, and now I'm at an 8K, so like I didn't get that experience that you guys have.
Yeah, but I'm saying like do you still have your Xbox One?
I have the Xbox One. I have the Xbox One S.
So plug in your Xbox One into your 8K TV and see how crappy it looks, because it's gonna look like shit.
I mean, yeah, I'll try it. Who knows?
So
we'll see what happens.
Parody, the way it works is you can. So there's super sampling, upscaling, and a couple other methods. But basically, super sampling is when your resolution on your screen is lower than the resolution being output by the hardware. So, for example, if you plugged in a Xbox One X into a 1080p screen, it won't look as visually sharp as a native 4K screen at like 55 inches, for example, but it will look better than a standard Xbox, excluding all the other graphical enhancements, just because it takes that 4K image and does the opposite of what I use for the example with the Xbox One stretching to fit the 4K screen. It compresses it to fit the 1080p screen. So you get sharper edges and better details in the distance, and per pixel there's more information there to be processed, so it does look better. So it's the opposite effect of my first example. So if you plug it into a 240, like, you're not going to get the native quality that a 4K would, but you would get a super sampled image of the original output, and it would look better than if it was a native 240p, to answer your question. So that's how technically that works. And real quick, I just want to give a shout out to One Against Us. I just saw this. My chat's acting up on my end. Thank you for the $5 donation, man. Much appreciated. Thanks for stopping back on the show again. He says, I'm getting a Series S. I think that's a smart decision, especially during hard times. This pandemic is hurting millions of people, and I think it's smart for Microsoft to release a console that allows people to experience next gen at half the price tag of their flagship. So good choice there, and I hope you enjoy the next generation, man. Thank you for the support. We all appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy.
So I'm gonna move it along then, just because I want to get through the next topic. So Series S price, I'm gonna speculate whatever the Xbox One X is, I'm gonna speculate half cost. That's pretty much where I'm gonna leave it. Whatever they say, half, 50%. That's it. Does anybody have any objection to that? Does anybody think they're gonna go higher or lower than what we're speculating?
No, I think the Series X is going to be 600, and then the Series S is going to be around 300.
That's accurate. That's actually very possible. Dub Peak, do you think they're lowballing it, or do you think they're gonna go higher than that?
I feel like I kind of agree. It'll probably be around that price, 600, and then the lower one will probably be 300, maybe even a little lower. But yeah, I could see it being like 300 for the lower price one because ideally they just want to be less than PlayStation's base price for the lower model one, and they'll try to outsell them best they can.
Yeah, they want to undercut it. I think that's actually, we were going to talk about delays into the next segment, so we can just segue into that if Parody doesn't have anything to Parody. What do you think? They're gonna lowball it, or you think they're gonna go higher than what we're saying?
I think they're gonna go higher. I think they'll probably do like 650 to 700 for the Xbox Series X, and then the other one will probably be about 300, 350.
I mean, I'm glad we have different ranges here because it shows the expectation for what the hardware is capable of. Like, that speaks for itself, because last time a console was 600-700 was when the PS3 came out, and the reason why it was so expensive is because it had more hardware than any other thing it had a Blu-ray player built in, and back then that was unheard of. Like, Blu-ray player back then cost as much as a game console itself, so they had that included. They also had the I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but the CPU in the PS3 was essentially a 7-core CPU, which at the time desktops were selling at like dual or quad core for super expensive builds. So yeah, that was the last time we saw anything released like that. But if that's not a testament to what kind of hardware we're looking at with next gen, I don't know what else will, because a lot of people are saying, I expect 600-700 for this based off the specs. Like, there's no way they're not going to make money if they don't.
Yeah, they're just going to lose money. Yeah,
right.
Bankrupt.
But we'll see. Microsoft has said they're willing to. They don't want to be beaten on price, so they're kind of waiting here. They're prolonging the announcement of the release date and the price because they want Sony to do it first, and then they want to try to undercut because Sony spanked Microsoft in 2013. When Microsoft said, here's our weak console for $500, you have to get Kinect, and Sony said, here's our stronger console, it's $100 less, you don't have to get anything. And, look at the sales numbers, 2-1, quite literally 2-1 in sales. And, if that's going to continue the next generation, it's to be seen, but Microsoft has to not let that happen again, especially after the Halo debacle and all of that. I think we can all agree there.
Isn't a PlayStation 4 like number 2 all time or something, number 1 all time in sales?
Yeah, I think it's number 2, and the only thing that beat it is PlayStation 2.
Yeah,
so like Sony's, they're sitting high and mighty, man. They're confident with this generation. We've talked about it a couple streams now in a row, but Xbox on paper and in practice is more powerful, but the PlayStation, Sony doesn't care, because Sony's like, it doesn't matter. We're gonna take our hardware and we're gonna run with it better than you can imagine, and we're going to create quality games and quality exclusives and stories and worlds that you've yet to see because of hardware limitations in the past that are gone now. So who cares if it's, the difference is native 4K compared to 1800p upscaled? You're still going to see amazing games, and they're so confident with that they don't even talk about the delta in performance. They don't need to. They're all set. Sony is literally all set. And I think after the last 2 Microsoft shows and after Halo being delayed, I'm pretty sure Mark Cerny, the architect for PS5, is sitting at home eating his Cheerios, just very happy right now. He's just content with that smirk on his face.
Yeah, and at the same time, like, I was gonna touch base on that. It was like, I'm almost worried about what the next games are gonna come out for Xbox, because obviously some of the ones that we saw in Showcase look absolutely amazing. Those ones are going to be great. But for the future, I almost feel like Xbox is trying too hard and PlayStation's just vibing in the back. Yeah, we just make great games. We just make great consoles. We've proven it the past couple of years. You guys need to step up to us, basically.
I'm glad you said that, because I literally said the same thing the last few days to myself. I'm just like, man, Microsoft needs to step it up. I'm a fan of Xbox and you're disappointing me. Meanwhile, Sony is just chilling, walking to the bank, legitimately laughing to the bank with this. They don't care, man. You're so spot on with that. They know.
Yeah, PlayStation, Sony is just chilling, and Microsoft's are just struggling trying to stay afloat in my mind. Don't get me wrong, like the games that they're coming out like look great. The console is really hyped and stuff like that, and it's gonna perform well. But at the other hand, like Sony is just chilling. They're just vibing. They know what they have. Like Dub Peak said, like the PS. I don't know if you said the PS3 or PS4, but
Yeah, the PS4.
The PS4 and the PS2 were number one and number two in sales the past like couple years. Like that shows something.
Yes.
Even though Xbox is technically hypothetically supposed to be the master console, right? But why is Sony up there on top of sales?
So I think it just comes down to the advantage that Sony had last generation, or well, still technically this generation.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think they had a better like start, and that kind of launched them into having a better like.
Oh
console.
yeah, I agree in that aspect, and that's why I'm saying I think like now Microsoft is still trying to catch up with Sony, even though like
facts, yeah.
with the new consoles they're trying, like they kind of almost have similar components into them. I mean, obviously they have their differences, but they're kind of similar at the same time, if that makes sense to people. But like I still feel like Microsoft is still trying to catch up to Sony just because of that aspect.
Y'all are so right. See, this is why I love this panel, because you guys bring up great points. You guys bring up different points from different aspects of the consumers out there. So we get a lot of space covered, if that makes sense, when it comes to these topics. And Dub Peak's absolutely right, and Benji, you're absolutely right. They had such a huge advantage last generation. I mean, like I said, 2-1. For every Xbox sold, there was like two or three, maybe even at some points, PlayStation sold. I mean, I worked at Best Buy when they both launched, and I'll tell you this much: we had a lot of Xboxes chilling with dust, and a lot of PlayStations that didn't exist because they were selling out. So I remember clearly when they all released how bad it was for Microsoft, and that is something they're going to still suffer with for a while. I mean, they're suffering with it today because, even though there's a performance delta, and Xbox has been trying their hardest to catch up with marketing, which they've kind of failed, there's analysts saying that it's going to happen again this year, a 2-1 lead. And I mean, like I said, we have to see what happens. I can't predict the future, but it's exciting nonetheless, because if you're open-minded gamer to, the benefits of all platforms, I have a Switch. I love my Switch. I play my Mario. Don't get me wrong. I got my computer.
I have the Switch Lite, and I use that. Sometimes I even bring it to work, and I use it on break, and I just sitting there playing Pokemon or whatever.
And see, Pokemon doesn't need to be 4K, 60 frames per second, like crazy graphics, because it comes down to like the game and how it feels and how fun it is, and the gameplay, and that's why each console kind of has their thing, right? That's what Nintendo does really well, is bringing that charm and their own kind of exclusives that they've had since the 90s or beyond. And then you have PlayStation with their storytelling exclusives, their single player experiences just being unbeatable. They've proved it for the last several generations, and God knows what they're going to do with this next one. But like, everybody's excited. People are buying it just for that reason. You don't even have to announce games yet. They just know what's coming, and that's enough to excite them to buy it. And then you have Microsoft, which, like, I mean, we talked about Halo and Gears. It's going to be absent, but they're the power aspect. You want a super powerful game console that's the equivalent of like a $1,400 computer. Well, if graphics are super important to you, there you go right there. But each console has their benefits, and they kind of carry over into each other. I'm not saying that, games on the Switch look terrible. I think like Mario plus Rabbids, older game, but it looks amazing on a 1080p screen even. I give that little console credit. PlayStation 5.
Even some of the remasters that Nintendo did, like they one of the Legend of Zelda games that they remastered, I forget what the name of it was, but they remastered that, and that looks amazing. But to kind of touch base on like all three consoles, it's like, what you said, Nintendo is more, the games that they make are more towards like the creative side of gaming, and then PlayStation is more towards the storytelling side of gaming. And then Xbox, in my mind, is more towards like all the multiplayer aspect. If you want to play with your friends, you want to have a great, looking game to play with your friends, you go to Xbox. You want pretty much more single player style, you want to have like a great looking single player game, you go to PlayStation. And if you want to be on the creative side, you go to Nintendo.
Yeah, they kind of have like their own little flavor, their secret sauce, if you will. Real quick, I'm just gonna
exactly.
interrupt the Funker. Thanks for stopping by, man. Hey, better late than never, right? Happy to be here. Trying to say for next gen, pre-orders need to come out. Damn it, I agree. I think we talk about that a lot in this group. It is August, everybody. It's almost mid-August, and we still don't know a specific release date official for either console, and we don't know a specific price point. They're playing this game of tag and wait and see, and as a result, people are out here struggling during pandemic. It shouldn't be people who are struggling's first priority to buy a console, but people who can buy a console for the sake of joy this year, something to look forward to. They want to know, how much do I have to put aside and prepare to buy, and how much time do I have to do it? For God's sakes, let us know. I agree. Chat, if you agree, definitely say it down below. But, what do you guys feel about the fact that it's mid-August and these consoles come out within the next 3 months and we still don't know official anything on pricing or release date?
Yeah, for someone that like has to put money aside, especially parents that buy consoles for their kids, maybe for Christmas time or even earlier on release, that's definitely something that's like need to know. I remember I was in college and the PS4 came out, or right before college, and I was like, I got a release date early so I could start saving up during the summer, and I was good to go when it came out. So I think that's kind of important that it hasn't come out yet. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, there was like a 6-month, I believe, like waiting period. Like they announced it, I believe, at the beginning of June when E3 was, and they released it in November. So yeah, they had about 6 months almost from announcement to purchase. So you had tons of time to save up for that. And now this generation, people who are in the same situation have possibly less than 3 months, less than maybe a little over 2 months to get this ready. And that kind of is going to lead me to segue into the main topic, is the rumored release date for the Series X. Nothing on PlayStation yet, or at least nothing flying around. I've been diligently waiting for something to come out, but we have some flame here on the Series X, aka Series S as well, release dates, and there's 2 possible dates. One of them is November 6th, and the reason for that is, and again, this is why I don't think it's 100% accidental that the controller box was revealed the other day, because retail stores are starting to get these controllers, and they're in a special packaging, like a big brown box with a bunch of heavy-duty tape all around it. You're not supposed to open it. You're not supposed to even look at it. And it says, do not open, display, or sell prior to November 6th. So that kind of leads us to believe that the console could come out on the 6th, because why would the accessories come out with the console not being out? That kind of is like a head scratcher. But people are also saying it's possible that they'll release the controller a week early, because it's not an exclusive controller. It's not like releasing a PS5 controller a week early and not being able to use it for literally anything, because the Xbox Series controller will work on mobile devices like smartphones for xCloud and PC, of course, and the OG Xbox, it is backwards compatible, and of course the new Xbox, it will work on that as well. So I mean, I guess that could be a thing. But then we have on screen, you'll notice the Yakuza, I probably butchered that, Like a Dragon. That game is a launch not exclusive, but a launch title for the Series X. So whenever the Series X comes out, the day that this game comes out is supposed to be the day the Series X comes out, and it was leaked available on November 13th. So quite interesting. We could see either a 6th or a 13th or a week early on the controller prior to the launch of the console. You guys, knowing that this could be the date of release, that gives us exactly, oh my god, it only gives us literally 3 months. So we have exactly 3 months to get these consoles in our hands. You think that's way too soon?
Yeah, I feel like, especially since now, like, we have this whole pandemic thing, and, a lot of people out there that do game are struggling for money and stuff like that. So the fact that they don't even have a price leaked out or a release date at this point, it's kind of upsetting in my mind, because if those 2 dates are rumored to be true, either one of them, that's not a lot of time, especially, like I said, if we're in a pandemic and the economy is really struggling right now. And if people want to play these consoles, they need to know when they need to come out so that they can start saving the money for it if they have the money for it.
Now, do you guys think it's weird that they would release the controller? Like, what do you guys think about that? You think it just makes sense to release it on the 6th and get it out a week earlier and have it launch with the accessory, the controller? Or do you guys think it makes sense that they can release the controller a week earlier?
Yeah, I feel like that'll probably release with the controller. It wouldn't make too much sense, I guess, if it came out beforehand. I just feel like from a consumer standpoint, they don't really know that you can use the controller for other things. Most people probably wouldn't know that. My guess would be that they're probably going to release the same day, and there'll probably be other game that might come out with it, other games on that day, so I'm not sure about that.
It's tough.
One random question I had about the controller. Do you think the new consoles will support keyboard and mouse more? 'Cause I know PS4 and Xbox toward the end did, but do you think like maybe even keyboard and mouse will be a bigger thing in the new consoles?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because I actually meant to bring that up when we were talking about cross-platform integration in most people's households between PC and console now. PS5 and Xbox Series X and of course Series S will allow you to plug in natively a mouse and keyboard into the device. Now Microsoft has talked about this more than PlayStation. PlayStation, they said you can do it, but that's kind of it. But Xbox said no, full support, plug it in and play. It doesn't matter if the game was created for it on the One X and the One S. The game has to kind of be more optimized towards it. Not every game does it. But on the Series X and Series S, it'll be every game, just like a computer, plug in mouse and keyboard, and boom, there you go. And DankVibez is actually going to play on it like a computer. He's going to have his desktop on one side and his desktop on the other, and he's going to have his mouse and keyboard plugged into either or, probably through a switch. Press a button and boom, now it's on the other device. And there's actually an advantage to that because not only, when you get used to mouse and keyboard, does it have that accuracy advantage in terms of response rate and everything, but one of the selling points of the Series X is its I/O speed, which is 40 times faster than the Xbox One X. And essentially what that means is in real time, your reactions are so much quicker. And I mean, it's hard to imagine that because when you're playing on an Xbox or a PlayStation or any console for that matter, you move a thumbstick, you press a button, your character does it right away. We don't notice a delay of any kind. We're used to it. But imagine what response you receive now, but 40 times faster. It's hard to imagine that. But the reflex, the response of the games is one of the next generation selling points that Phil Spencer has flat out said, Sony and Microsoft can't demonstrate that to you guys through the internet and through a video. We can talk about it, we can show you on paper, but you guys have to play this thing to experience that. So, knowing how a game feels now and imagining it 40 times faster is hard because we're not used to that delay. But games are going to be that fast, and when you combine that response with mice and keyboard, gaming mice and keyboards for that matter, that have what's called a high ultra pooling rate, it allows for faster response times on PC games. Combine that ultra pooling rate with a 40 times faster I/O speed, and I don't want to say it's an advantage because I don't have one yet, and I can't tell you that. But on paper, that's an advantage. That's if you're playing Call of Duty, that's an advantage. You have a super fast mouse and keyboard sending data as fast as possible through the peripheral, and then you have the device, the Xbox and PlayStation, taking that information 40 times faster than a computer typically would even. So that's, you click a button and there's no millisecond delay. And that, it's just crazy to think about. So that's an amazing question. I mean, Dubpeak, how are you gonna handle that? Are you gonna go mouse and keyboard and play it like a desktop then?
Oh man, if I don't, I'm gonna get clapped up. That's what it sounds like. But I mean, I'm pretty good, I would say, at both mouse and keyboard and controller. So just depending on the game, I can just switch back and forth. Usually, I use controller on single player story games, third person kind of games. But if it's first person, I can do mouse and keyboard for sure. If that's what the move is.
Word, that's actually really, so I think a lot of people are going to start doing that because a lot of people don't know that's a thing. A lot of people don't know that, that's what they've talked about. That's what they've discussed. Benji, Parody, I know you guys play on controller, but let's throw an example out there. Let's say Valorant comes out on Xbox, right? And the whole squad's playing on Xbox and half of the squad's got mouse and keyboard plugged in and they're getting killed. They're clicking foreheads every 2 seconds and you guys are bottom fragging. Are you guys going to plug in mouse and keyboard to the Xbox and give it a shot? You going to try it out?
Hell no. Controller till I die. I'm just capping. But at the same time though, anybody with a mouse and keyboard on an Xbox want to see me with a controller, you'll get your head capped off. I'm telling you that right now.
That's very true.
Come see me. Come see me. But no, to the real point, it depends on the game. Like I have a buddy that plays mouse and keyboard and Overwatch on Xbox, and he's a top 500 player. Before that, he was like a silver to gold player with a controller, and he was like, "Let me just try to play this with mouse and keyboard on my Xbox," and now he's a top 500 player on Xbox.
Okay.
Jesus.
So, I mean, I think it's adjustments, because you can get used to it. I mean, I remember I used to be nasty with a controller, because that's all I knew. I had no friends growing up. All I did was play games, and I had my controller. That was my best friend. So, like, I learned how to use controller proficiently, right? And now, because I switch between the two, I just suck at every platform, to be honest. Like, I can't click heads.
Jesus.
So, Parody, how are you feeling about it? You gonna try it out? I know. Real quick, I'm just gonna stop it right there. So, Dub Peak, you ever play League of Legends?
I played it once in college. Yes.
A game you would say you want to use a mouse and keyboard for, right?
Yeah, you definitely want to. Don't tell me he uses controller.
Wait, don't tell me he used a controller to play League of Legends.
Worse.
Wait, is that even? I didn't even know that was possible.
It's worse.
Yeah, you can configure your controller to
It's
mirror
worse.
your
No.
mouse and keyboard.
He used the trackpad on his
no.
laptop. It's worse.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, he did. He used his trackpad.
That's skill.
So, see,
It
like,
was so comfortable. So comfy.
see, that's the thing though. Like, this man played League of Legends on the worst possible configuration, and it worked out for him. So I was gonna ask this question, like, Rob, you gonna try it out, see what happens? But this man's played on the worst of the worst. So I want to say I know the answer already, but like I said, same example as before. Let's say the whole squad's playing Valorant or equivalent game, and we're clicking foreheads, and you're struggling because you got a millisecond delay, buddy. What are you gonna do? You gonna try it out?
I mean, I might give it a try with mouse and keyboard, only if they add aim assist to Valorant. Because when I try it with controller now, I mean, I still click heads, but it's like impossible.
Well, I was about to touch base on that too. Like when Valorant first launched, I was like messing around with the settings, and there was like an extra program I had to download to play controller on Valorant, and it actually ran like trash. It ran absolutely garbage, even with the aim assist in it. It was just garbage. But onto that aspect, with the new Xboxes coming out and the PlayStations, it might be more beneficial to run mouse and keyboard on certain games like multiplayer shooters like Call of Duty or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good time to learn, and it definitely gives you more incentive. Real quick, I'm going to diverge to chat. I always mess up your name. I want to say Boss Mafu. I'm always late to this. Like I told Funker, better late than never, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. Panda Hands, welcome back, brother. Thanks for stopping by again. I like Rumble on controller. No Rumble feels weird. Rumble for life. I'll need a Rumble mouse. Wait a minute. There's no Rumble mouse. At least I never heard of one. How come no one's thought of this yet? I
feel like there might be, maybe. I don't know.
Someone let you. Parody,
I mean, all you would technically need is like put like a dog shock collar on your hand and use that as a rumbler.
Now, Panda, I'm not going to give you any legal advice or nothing, but I would go out and patent a Rumble compatible keyboard and mouse, because I don't think I've ever heard of it, and that would be a game changer. I mean, that's spot on. I never thought of that. A Rumble mouse and keyboard. That would be crazy. And I mean, that kind of PlayStation.
What's a Rumble?
When you like the ground shakes or an explosion happens near you, or you're shooting your gun like it shakes. Are you trolling me? I think you're trolling me.
Yeah, I am. Sorry.
It might throw your aim off though on the mouse if it shakes too hard.
That is a good point.
You got vibrate too high.
Yeah,
your aim
the
be weak.
DPI. I mean, yeah, that's true. Yeah, the DPI can be. I mean, my mouse, like, if the cord even brushes up against my speaker, just like a tidbit, everything starts going crazy. But I mean, that's a good idea, Panda. Still, I mean, PlayStation's doing something. I gotta feel this, because again, this is one of the things that they can't show us in a screen. They kind of did with like the. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about with the PlayStation reveal. They had like the particle effect with the controller to give you a visual representation of the haptic feedback that they have on there. And the best way you can describe that is like the haptic feedback you feel on like your iPhone or your Android phone when you're using the like lock features and whatnot, how the screen like ever so slightly shakes, but it's not the vibration mode. They're kind of doing something like that to provide a more next generation feel in their controllers. So I'm excited to see how that feels, but maybe they can do something like that on a mouse to kind of prevent the DPI skipping around. Who knows? But that's a good idea, Panda. Thanks for stopping by.
To pretty much go off what Panda said, I want them to make a multiplayer game like shooter, like Call of Duty, where I can use VR. Let me be literally in the game with my VR headset and my VR controllers, and let me shoot you with a VR set.
I like that idea. I mean, we're going to see, we talked about VR last week. We're going to see VR start to evolve more with games like Half-Life Alyx coming out recently and the new Star Wars Squadrons game supporting it wholeheartedly and from the like actual foundation of the game. I think if they can pump out AAA games that are awesome and amazing experiences, it'll be a reason to buy it versus now where it's a lot of AA games or just indie
Well, that's
games.
what I'm saying. You know, like with the PlayStation, like the PlayStation came out with the PSVR with it and stuff like that. So, and then obviously like Xbox version was the Kinect, which was absolute fucking garbage. Microsoft, I hope you're listening, but that was the worst decision you ever made. But on top of that, like, you know, with the whole, like you said, with the new Star Wars game coming out, Squadrons, it's like, you know, I want to feel what it's like to be a stormtrooper. Like that would appeal me more to the game and all that stuff if I could hook up my VR headset if I had one, because I'm a broke bitch. But but at the same time, but it's like, you know, I want to see what it's like to be a stormtrooper in those games and stuff like that.
Did you guys see the Walking Dead VR game that came out this year? I think it was this year, maybe end of last year.
I heard about that. I forgot.
Yeah,
It actually was. It looked like that was the best VR game I've ever seen, I think, so far. It looked really good.
And that
like
was
the
for
shooting and the looting and the story, it actually looked really good.
I gotta actually look into that because I heard about it and then completely forgot about its existence and never looked into it. But I'm glad you brought that up because that's another game added to the list of the just recent games this year with VR that are making a difference. So Benji, you're gonna probably see exactly what you're hoping for because you know they're gonna make a PSVR 2 for the PlayStation 5. They're definitely gonna do that. And it's, I mean,
Please don't tell me they're going to make a Kinect 2 for the Xbox.
No rumors yet. Microsoft said they're not even looking into VR as of right now, so that's all gone. They're just...
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God, Microsoft. Leave the VR to PlayStation, please.
Yeah, I agree. PlayStation has been doing it well since launch, and they sold a lot. If you look up sales, their PSVR sales are actually a lot better than a lot of people would say, even with the price tag it had. So, you know, PlayStation 5 is definitely going to have it. And I don't know if you guys have seen the new Hitman trailer for PSVR, but that was on a PS4 Pro, and it looked phenomenal. You can choke people out now with your shoelaces in first person Hitman style, and it looks crazy high definition on a fraction of the power that the PS5 has. So if you guys have some free time, definitely look that up. You're super impressive, and I can only imagine what Sony is going to have in store for us when the PS5 VR launches, and I don't know when that will be. I've heard nothing about that either, but I can almost guarantee that they're going to do it. Panda Hands says they have Rumble VR headsets or vests. They react when you get hit. Oh, really? I've seen those. I've also seen like the things you can stand on, like the full mode. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Like Ready Player One or something?
Yeah, I mean, they have like I don't know the name of it. Panda probably knows what I'm talking about, but it's like a little station you can stand on, and it has a harness that goes around you. So you obviously, it's like a treadmill.
I've seen that. I have seen that.
Yeah, that's probably really similar. And you have a vest, so you can he could feel when things would hit him, which is like, I mean, imagine if PS5 VR came out with like because they're really about the experience more so than just raw power, right? Because their controller, for Christ's sake, has more features in it than the Xbox controller probably. I mean, more features in it than their Elite controller, and their Elite controller is like, what, $180? So if you really think about it, if anybody in the console space were to add such an advanced feature to VR, it'd be Sony. You know, they could come out with like controllers that are similar to the Valve Index, where you can move your fingers and like you want to flip someone off in a game, you can do it now without just pressing a couple buttons. Like it actually has a laser that scans your finger. And you also have maybe like a vest that you can wear to get that feedback on your body if you get hit. Like you never know. They could come out with some crazy stuff. They're really innovative, and I mean their controller alone shows that.
So I can
just hope-
finally
I
get
hope
a VR girlfriend, is what you're saying?
Yes, exactly, dude. VR chat. Meet me in VR chat. Any single ladies out there,
Yes.
love you.
See, VR chat.
Get a VR vest and helmet and get a kiss from my VR girlfriend.
Where's Juice World? I hope he's still in this. So that way he's been telling us, get VR, play VR chat with me. And they come out with stuff like that. We're in there.
Hell yeah, VR chat. Hell yeah, it's lit. Even though you don't have a VR set, it's still fun. There's so many different things and so many games that you can do on it. It's so fun.
100% DankVibez. Sony has Fire VR. Agreed, brother. Hope your birthday dinner went well, homie. So we kind of any single ladies, I love you. The thirst is real.
Hey, listen, hey.
Got him.
I'm not thirsty, I swear. But I mean, if I'm a VR chat and they come out my way, I'm pulling some girls.
True facts. You know,
City.
I am
especially
big
if I
simp.
got that.
I am big
Especially
simp.
if I got that skin on, and they're like, "Whoa!" and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?"
Oh, I'm gonna segue now. I think it's time to segue. We're almost towards the end of
No,
our
not
show.
yet. Don't segue.
Oh,
yet.
we're segueing. We're moving along. I mean, honestly,
Wait, I want to talk about my Rumble.
All right, go ahead. What you got to say about your Rumble?
So, like, when you guys talk about the Rumble controllers and how, and like the vest you can put on and all that, like, I really hope it'll be like dope. I really hope it will be dope.
Well, I
I
mean,
really want it to. I want to feel everything in game.
Well, so that was just, I mean, those are specific experiences that, you know, Panda brought up. It's not like I mean, it's definitely something that you can do if you invested in it, but that's kind of like in its infancy. It's not confirmed that Sony has or will do that, but if anyone was going to do it first, it'd probably be them. Because I mean, the controller example. I mean, look what they did for their controller. So yeah, we'll see. Time will tell. Technology's advancing, and the PS5 has more than enough horsepower to bring crazy VR experiences to the table.
Really?
If the OG PS4 could do. I mean, look at the PS4. Go look up the best looking PS4 PlayStation VR games, right? And that's a 1.8 teraflop machine versus a, you know, up to 10.28 teraflop machine. So it's a massive delta in performances between the two. And the older one still looks really good. So like, it just use your imagination at that point.
Yeah, I mean, like if they literally start doing that, like I said, like the vest and everything and the controller and all that, like I literally want to get a full body suit, because if they do it, I'm gonna be the biggest simp in VR chat. I'm gonna feel when they touch my chest and then slap me and tell me to go get them drinks and buy them coins. You already know what's gonna happen. I'm
gonna
on
play
my
some
knees.
Mario VR, some coins, get slapped, get some
Mario VR. Yeah, VR chat too. You know, she strokes my chest and says, "Hey, pick up my shit." All right, I'm sorry. I love you. That's it.
I'm definitely segueing now. I am segueing harder than I've ever segued.
You are officially titled King Simp.
Everybody, King Simp in the chat. Can we get a King Simp in the chat? I want a King Simp. We got one King Simp. Everybody, King Simp. But I'm gonna super simpo. So all I was gonna say about this console stuff before moving into a couple of game rumors and hype that we got going on. Some shows were rumored for August. Sony's has not been disrumored. There's still a rumor that Sony has something coming for us at the end of the month, and I'm really hoping it's that price launch date reveal. We need to hear something about it. Microsoft was actually rumored to have their event as early as later next week, and they're actually deciding now. Rumors are that they're pushing it back to September because they want to sit and see what Sony says, so they're pushing back a little bit more. And the August event is supposed to be all hardware. So we've had the June event was game announcements. People were mad, no gameplay, but they were focusing on just announcing the games, not showing the games. So, you know, they had a huge weight on their shoulders for the July event. We wanted to see gameplay. They announced some more games, and they showed us gameplay, all right, but not any gameplay that people were expecting, looking for. And now it's supposed to be all hardware, aka the Series S announcement, diving into more about what the Series X, in terms of hardware, the benefit of going next gen. So, I mean, stay tuned for all of that. Things keep changing. So for those of you who are just waiting patiently, but getting damn frustrated with both companies.
Yeah, with that in mind, literally, Microsoft, if you're listening, just fucking pick dates already. Like, literally, stop trying to compete with Sony, because at this point, you're fucking losing. Just be a man that I know that you are and can be, and just give us the information that we need.
Just tell us already.
Benji just disciplined Microsoft. I'm gonna have to bring you. Benji just said, "Phil Spencer, can I see you in my office?" Like,
I say we just like pull up with the glizzy.
Like, literally, just Phil Spencer, come in my office, please. Yeah, what the fuck are you doing? Like, hurry up already.
I think they're gonna say something sooner rather than later, though. I think like by the end of the first week of September, we have to know something. We have to know more than now, like a lot more, if not concrete. We have to have so many accurate rumors and speculation from the right sources that we can just agree that, you know, we can expect what they're going to say even if they don't officially say it. And I think that's where we can leave it off. I mean, everybody here has kind of said their piece about what they need to say and why it's taking so long and how it's just unacceptable. But we just keep hearing about games, not hardware. And that's going to segue even further into our next topic, which is going to be, so we talked about Mass Effect earlier before the stream. Rumor is on September 29th, we're going to get a Mass Effect collection, which is Mass Effects 1 through 3, all, I don't want to say remastered, because that term is thrown around in a loose kind of sense now, where it just works on a new platform and has a higher resolution, maybe frame rate. When in my mind, a remaster is like better graphics, more than just resolution, on top of better performance, you know, maybe some additional features, who knows. So Mass Effect fans, did any of you guys know about that in the stream? And are you excited as all hell if you didn't, now that I said it?
I never heard about it. I mean, I know we talked pre-stream, but I never heard about it, and I played all 3 Mass Effects, and if this is somewhat of a remaster, like I know you said, like remaster is a loosely used term, but if this is somewhat of a remaster, I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I never played any of the Mass Effects, so I've heard a lot of good things about them, so I would probably check it out for sure, especially if it was remastered, like with higher, just everything.
Hell yeah, it gives people a chance. It gives, if you never experienced it, it gives you now a reason to experience it, and those who loved it in the past can relive it at a better detail. Parody, did you ever play Mass Effect?
No, I never played Mass Effect.
Do you know what it is, right? Have you heard about it?
Well, what are they about? Like, what is this about? I've never even heard of this.
So Mass
game.
Effect is like one of those futuristic sci-fi RPG games. It's made by BioWare, if you know the kind of games that they make. And basically, you're traveling around the galaxy with your own crew, and your own squad makes your companions. And it's really deep into storytelling. You basically save the galaxy from alien races, and the first one, it's about kind of like discovering what's happening. The second one's kind of like the action of what's happening. And the third one is the climax of what's happening. And that's like the easiest way to describe it without spoiling any specifics. Because there's a lot to that game.
Like, yeah, like I understand that. I might give it a try. Like I played the Dragon Age, like Inquisition from BioWare. That was a good game. And I also, I'm just, I don't know. I'm scared with the games that they come out next, just because like Anthem, they hyped it up so good. They're like, oh, Anthem's going to be so great.
Oh God,
it just flopped. I haven't even heard I haven't heard anything from it since it dropped.
I mean, who here has tried Anthem?
Exactly. Like you might as well.
I think I played the demo for like, I think I played the demo for like 5 minutes. I was like, this game sucks.
Dude, I'd rather play Nintendo DS, bro.
Yeah, I watched a few people stream it like when it first came out, and it looked really buggy, and then I like followed up a few months later, and they just said it's like kind of the same as release, so I never really looked any more than that.
Yeah, like I literally like downloaded the game.
Wow, it also reminds me of another game. Wow, I think it starts with Fallout and ends with 76.
Best game ever made. No one believes me. Wait till 77 comes out. Super hyped game. Probably one of the most hyped games this year, or the year that it came out, and it absolutely tanked. No, it definitely not. It literally got 10 out of 10 everywhere. IMDb certified.
Let me put it to you this way: the best part about that game was a fucking moth. All right,
Mothman, hey, represent my boy. I mean, Doug,
Like
you ever play
that is the best feature in that whole game is a dude as a moth. Like, come on now.
Okay, listen to one of the viewers out there. I just can't. Just so you know, listen. Don't say parody. Oh my god, you know deep down in your heart, okay, that Fallout 76 was the best game you've ever played, ever in your life.
Oh my god, we're gonna get banned. Like this whole stream's gonna get banned with this blast.
Or it'll get sponsored by Fallout.
True,
That's what I'm
or
saying.
Todd Howard's gonna come knocking and be like, "Hey guys, I want to make some money. We don't."
Look, Todd Howard can come in my office too. I'll be like, "What the fuck
no.
are you doing?" Same thing with Phil Spencer.
Nah,
Okay,
bro.
so-
Nah, don't do that to him. I'm a simp. I would literally just kiss his feet and then he'll make me a game character. I'm good for life.
I can't anymore. I can't.
Speaking of game characters, not to really kind of segue from all this other stuff, but to the whole gaming community and kind of streaming community, Blizzard in their new expansion on World of Warcraft, they put in a Rekful NPC, and they some of the stuff. For those of you who are not familiar with Rekful, he passed away this year. So they put an NPC because that was one of his most popular games that he played. So they put an NPC in for him. So speaking about like putting NPCs into games and stuff like that, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Not to segue from
No,
Xbox
that's
to
actually
PlayStation.
that's actually a respectable thing. I think that kind of extra effort from game companies for people who made an impact on a lot of people's lives. I think it's really an admirable thing because I mean, now that character and that person is going to live on in the game forever, and you don't get big on Twitch if you don't make an impact on people's life in some way. That could be either through humor or through joy, or people like feeling things. Not to get so critical on emotion here, but if you make someone feel a certain way, it can be positive, it can be negative. That's how you get fans. Negative can get you fans, positive can get you fans, and regardless of how you felt about anybody, or if you knew them or not, there's no denying that there was a huge following there, and for that person to be represented in a video game now as an NPC is, I mean, just a testament to show how much of an impact they made on the community. And I think players like that should be honored, honestly, because I mean, gaming is just for life and enjoyment. Our generation and generations below us and a little bit above us, like, gaming has been there for a lot of people. And I know I joked around about it earlier, but I'm not kidding. I grew up sitting in my room, like, playing video games, man. I grew up in a small town. My closest friend lived miles away. Small town is in less people, but a big area. And, there wasn't really a lot to do besides play video games. And I appreciate video games wholeheartedly for that. And the difference it has on people's lives, and the content creators that have grown through gaming as an entertainment portal, it's just insane. So I'm glad you brought that up, Ben, because if we could get more of that, for all creators that build that kind of an impact, I would encourage it. Fallout does.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, like, there's games out there that like if a popular streamer on whatever platform that they're streaming on, they, like, PUBG had like certain skins like for Shroud, certain skins for like Doc and all that stuff. Like, they do stuff like that, but I thought the way that Blizzard actually implemented the NPC aspect for Rekful and all that stuff, like, literally, like, the character is a rogue trainer, which Rekful played when he played World of Warcraft, and some of the aspects of the rogue trainer implemented what Rekful was as a rogue player in that game as well, which I thought was an extra, like, nice touch.
What a wholesome segue. That was my favorite segue yet so far. Definitely glad you brought that up, man, because like I said, tough year, and any light in the dark that we can see when it comes to all the crazy things that's happened this year, I'm just glad that gaming can be there as that light at the end of the tunnel in some way. And even if it has areas around the topic that are sad, there's always something that can be done to try to make it better. And that's just an example that even when the worst case scenario thing happens, the community can get together and try to make a difference. But just because for the sake of the show, I'm just going to move it along here to the next stage. And I know this is where Parody is probably going to talk the most serious he's ever been in his whole life. And that is for CyberPunk 2077. You guys can see it on screen right now. I just been watching this kind of as everybody's been talking. And I don't know what it's being played on here. I assume a PC, but damn, this game looks really good. What are your guys' impressions? I'm going to go down in list style here, and because this is the game you've been talking about since before I even gave it a lot of attention, Parody, what's your impression about this game? What makes you most excited about it?
Jesus. I love, I'm a big fan of Keanu, and he's going to be in the game. Okay. I know it came out late, but that's one thing I'm going to play for because he's in it. Well, two, I just like the whole futuristic vibe. I like how like the RPG aspect. I like how it looks realistic. You get to do whatever you want. You know, it's just like the regular RPG, but there's so many more things you can do. And it's so different from every other game I've ever played in my life. Besides Fallout 76 and Gunk. Those are good too. But besides that, like, it's just... Dude, I'm so excited. I don't even know. I can't even talk about it because I'm so excited. When it comes out, I'm buying it, and I'll be playing it for the next 6 months, so I probably won't be in any podcast. But just so you guys know, I love all of you.
Okay. I love how you kind of mixed in your usual you with some seriousness in there. I appreciate the genuine tone. Dub Peak, I haven't heard much about you on this game. I'm assuming you've heard about it, but what are your impressions on it? If not, and if you have been watching this game, what are you most excited for?
So I've been listening and watching a lot about this game for a very long time, and it's going to be one of those games, hopefully, that I start playing and then I literally become the character I am in the game. Like, I'm going to start cosplaying and stuff in real life as my character because I'm so in depth. The game looks so massive. It looks like there's so much you can do and so much. Like, I love like little side stories and stuff in games, and this looks like it's going to be one of those games where it's like real life where there's a ton of side stories besides your main quest. And I don't know, it just looks like a lot. I might lose my mind playing this game.
I'm with you on that one. I'm going to be honest. When I first saw it, I didn't believe it. It's like one of those kind of games where there's just so much to it. You're like, there's no way it's going to be this good. And I don't know. Did you see the most recent footage that you see on the screen here? The nightlife trailer they recently brought out?
Yeah, I think I saw this a day or two ago. I saw someone on YouTube showing the three different, like, it shows like three different things, right? Yeah.
Yep. The different, like, you can pretty much have different starting points. You know, if you want to start in the city, that's one lifestyle you can start. You want to start in like the outskirts, you can do that. Like, it kind of gives you freedom to start the game in a different way, which, number one, I mean, this game looks massive already. It's going to be a huge game to get through, but it immediately gives you replayability, right? You have three options of three different characters and three ways to start the game, for Christ's sake. And then after that, I mean, who knows what the story is like. And I'm so excited for this. I mean, I'm sure you know then, Dub Peak and Benji and Parody, if you didn't. This game, they went into such detail, and this is kind of partially why I'm like, no way. But the city is not just like a big, like, GTA style. There's a lot of surface area, but it's actually vertical as well. Like, you can go in the skyscrapers and the buildings that you see, like in the background that you can see here. You can actually go into the top floors of these buildings. You can go inside the rooms of these buildings. There's so much verticality. So the city might not be like GTA size in terms of, diameter, right? But there is so much compact into this city, so much life here. And the AIs, the NPCs you see walking around are actually like living, breathing characters in this world. For example...
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Right. I mean, look at GTA. If you're driving down the street, you see NPCs and pedestrians pop out of nowhere. It might be, depending on your hardware, further away, but you'll see them pop out of nowhere. And then once they're out of sight, they disappear. That NPC is just an illusion. These NPCs, all of them, the citizens, everybody, has like a life. Like bartenders, when they close down the shop, they walk to their houses and they sleep there. You can follow them. They have a life. They'll go shopping. People that you see walking around on the street aren't just walking to make you think you're in this game world. They're walking to go somewhere. If you follow them, they have like a side story. So like diving into what you said about side exploration, you can do that down to just following a random person you see on the street and seeing what their life is like. And I think that's like I think that's asinine because that sounds so impossible, but it's what they're aiming for, and that's why they've kept delaying the game. Is like that's to give you an idea of how ambitious this game truly is. So, I'm that's my piece about it. Benji, what are your thoughts about this game?
I absolutely can't wait to play it. And just for that aspect of like the three different stories, that just appeals to me even more. So that, like you said, that replayability that, I could start from the outskirts side, or I could start from the city, I could start in that nightclub life. Like, there's so many opportunities that this game has that I just want it to come out today. I want it out now.
Yeah,
basically.
me too. And the good news is, I mean, based off the rumored Series X release date, and I want to say PlayStation's going to be around the same time period, maybe a little bit later, maybe even earlier, who knows. But this game comes out same month that rumored. I mean, Microsoft officially announced November. Sony's rumored November. This game comes out in November. So, this is a game we're all going to be able to enjoy on next gen. That kind of goes back to Halo, being delayed on Xbox. That's fine. But if you want to play Cyberpunk 2077 with ray tracing and high level graphics and frame rate and resolution, well, next gen is going to be there that same month, and you will be able to without upgrading your PC. Because I'm not going to lie, I mean, if you look at the specs, it's pretty heavy duty for this game. But even just looking at the graphics, you can assume that you have to have some pretty strong hardware. I mean, just take ray tracing out of the equation, and you still need some pretty heavy duty hardware to run this game well. At better settings. So we all want to experience this game as best we can, and next gen is going to fall in line with that. So Xbox users, people who are hesitant about buying an Xbox because there's no Halo, well, here you go. You have games like this coming out around the same time, and you're going to be able to enjoy them without upgrading your PC at all, and that's kind of the point. So
I have a question for you.
What's up, Parody?
All right. So I have a serious question, okay? All right. So hypothetically, okay, if this Cyberpunk came out the same time as Far Cry 5, what are you going to play?
So, well, the good news is, like, I like the hypothetical question. Far Cry 6 is going to be coming out in February, I believe. So I thank God don't have to make that choice. But I will tell you, when Halo got announced that it was delayed, and with the rumors that November 6th and 13th are going to be the release day of the Series X, I immediately thought, crap, I have very little time to do what I need to do on Halo and then move on to Cyberpunk, because Halo is an open world game, and there's a lot to do in that. I mean, any game that's open world automatically takes longer to beat. And, I have two YouTube channels. One is long playthroughs where I record the start to finish of the game in one sitting and I upload it as a whole video. And then I have Frame Rated, where I test the console and PC hardware that I have to show you how well it performs at various graphic settings. And that would have taken me, being between both of those things, easily more than 2 weeks. I mean, benchmarking day one, of course, but any aside things I want to do, it would take a couple days. The recording of the campaign would take definitely over a week if it's open world. And then Cyberpunk would have came out, and I would have had literally two things at once to do. So, I would have to say I would play Halo until, let's say, pretend that was Far Cry 6. I'd play it all the way up until Cyberpunk came out, and then I would stop what I was doing, try to do as much as I can before then, and dive into Cyberpunk, because this most recent trailer, the last few days, really hyped me up for it, because the trailers before recently, they did a good job at making me question, is this reality? We've been burnt before by games showing you astronomical levels of detail, and like the game comes out, think Watch Dogs, right? Game comes out and it's like, what the hell is this? So, I was afraid that was going to happen here. I really was, because of how ambitious this game is. I know CD Projekt Red is, they're kings of their craft, but I did not want to get expectations set high and then get burned. And then this most recent trailer, we're very close to launch. It looks solid. It looks amazing. And it really set me over the edge. It's like, I need to play this game. This is going to be day one. Like, I'm not going to be playing a lot else when this comes out. I think Dub Peak's with me on that one. I think, you're with me on that one. Benji, I think there's a lot of us in this group and on this panel that are going to be playing the hell out of this game. And not just for a little bit, but for a while, because this game is going to take forever to beat. And then when you beat it, you can have two other options of playing the game again after that. So
yeah, I just hope it's really good, because what's that game called? As Dust Falls, the one that's like a picture-based game, it might blow this one
on
out
the
the water.
Series X.
Yeah, because that game looks so good. It's like it's like you don't move.
my.
It just flips pictures all day. It could be better than this game.
Benji, Dub Peak, if you know what he's talking about right now, like you
I
want
have
to
no clue
you
what
want to
he's
shank
talking
this.
about.
So when you get a chance, look up as Dust Falls on YouTube, and then try to compare just what you see there to this masterpiece of a game that we see coming out soon.
You can't compare.
And it immediately lets you know that Parody is on his troll game tonight. He's on it. He is definitely on it.
No, like you literally like if you look at that game, because when I look at Cyberpunk,
this game looks like garbage.
I just want to shoot people. That's it, okay? But when I look at that picture-based game and I see that little child crying, I want to cry. I feel it in my soul. This, I don't feel anything. I don't know.
This game looks like GTA loading screen.
No, yes, it does. But do you feel it in your heart? Do you feel it when you see it?
I want to skip it. That's what I'm
No,
feeling.
you want to
GTA
skip
loading
it.
screen.
No, you want to embrace that love.
Nah, I think I'm good on that game. I already forgot what it was called.
I just can't say that's the most accurate thing he's heard. It's like a GTA loading screen if it was a game. That is the most accurate thing I've ever heard. Oh my god. Yo, Dub Peak, you're adding value to this stream more than you even know, brother. Oh my god.
I'm glad.
Yo, that's the most accurate description for that game I've heard yet. And I talk to Parody almost daily. I've heard a lot of silly things that he's tried to compare. I mean, he said he was a janitorial major in college to describe gunk, and then like you took the cake, the GTA loading screen game, yo. Oh my god.
Jesus.
Oh, so I can't get over that. So okay. So we're going to close out Cyberpunk then, because I think we can all unanimously agree that that game set high expectations since day one, and every single announcement or reveal of any kind since then has kept that expectation going, and unlike Halo, did not falter, and if anything has built stronger. The logs have been added to the flame, and the flame is burning down the whole house, and now we just have just a few more months until we have that game in our hands. I know we can't wait. But there's one thing I am excited. We talked a little bit about Sony, but we didn't bring up a lot of rumors. There's one thing, Dub Peak and I talked about it earlier. We're really excited to and hope it happens. A new SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs rumored to be a PS5 launch title. I am ecstatic. PS5 doesn't have to launch a single thing day one. But if they say, hey, we're coming out with a SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs, and they even make it look a little bit good, I will buy a PlayStation. I'm going to buy it anyway, but I will buy it day one and be more excited than the Xbox Series X, which is my main brand. I've been an Xbox fan like Benji since since the damn thing came out, and I only owned a PlayStation once I was able to get my hands on one, borrowed it from my uncle. So I was deprived of PlayStation most of my life. And, so as an Xbox fan, it's crazy for me to say that I'd be way more excited for the competing console if just a game like SOCON were to be a launch title. Dub Peak, how you feeling about that? You didn't hear about this rumor until we talked earlier. So what's your impressions, man? How do you feel right now?
If that's true, that literally, like I said earlier before the stream started, that was the first game I've ever played that I played online against other people. I got destroyed, but that was the first experience I ever experienced online. I believe PS2. I forgot the exact name of it, but it was PS2 SOCOM, and I played it on that. I played it on PSP, and SOCOM just like one of those games that just brings back good memories. Playing with my brother, and the graphics were garbage, but that game was great. So if they come out with a new one, enhanced graphics, good gameplay, good mechanics, that'll sell for sure. A lot of consoles.
Yeah. I am so excited for that. And speaking of memories, you remember the single player? You know how they gave you that little microphone headset that you could use for the online, but you could also use it as single player?
Yeah, I do remember that actually. Yeah,
you could tell your little squad mates like defend like objective Zulu.
It didn't work at all though. It did not work like smoothly, but it was so cool.
You would tell them to attack objective Alpha, and they would just walk into a wall and kind of just keep trying. But like, damn, I appreciated the effort. But that headset came in handy because, like, I mean, I didn't have PlayStation Online myself. I always had to see it at a friend's house, and I experienced it online there as well. But the headset that my friend used to play online PlayStation games was the damn headset they gave you for that SOCOM game. And I think like that's just it's kind of like Halo. SOCOM was like the Halo to online for PlayStation because that's when a lot of people were first introduced to it. It was massively popular. Can't speak today. Oh my god, chat F. And just like Halo, it had its own like out of the box system that was separated from the platform that people just jived with. So for Halo 2, for people who remember, there was no like party system built into the operating system of the Xbox. It was just, you had your Xbox dashboard and you could store music and play a game and update the firmware. That's it. That's all you could do. There's no friends list. There's no messaging, none of that. But Halo 2 had their own built-in like friends list. You could see other games your friends were playing, and even if they were playing another game, send them a message that they could see but not reply back to, because again, the operating system didn't even have it integrated. And you can even create clans, and like that's like everything was done through Halo 2. It had its own thing. SOCOM was very similar, but for PlayStation. It came with its own little headset that most people used for their online communication. It had its own like friend and clan system. It like had all of that. So very special in a lot of people's hearts, and it's sad that not a lot of people know about this rumor because not a lot of people are talking about it, and it makes me sad because it makes me feel like SOCOM is slowly being forgotten about because it's been so damn long since we've not only had a SOCOM game, since we've had a good SOCOM game. I mean, would you say SOCOM 1 and 2 were the best ones, and then they had a good one on PSP, maybe even PS Vita if it was. I'm not 100% sure if I remember that correctly.
Yeah, the last good one I played was on PSP, not Vita. So I don't know what year that was, but I was still probably in maybe middle school when that came out. So like 10 years ago, maybe longer.
And that's, oh my god, a decade, man. See, people are starting to forget about it. Oh my god, please, SOCOM. I just can't. That's what I'm saying, man. See, a lot of people don't know about it. But that's a game that once you say it in front of someone, it's like, oh my god, I remember that game. I freaking love that game. Please make another one of those games, but don't mess it up. But it's Sony, and Sony's track record lately, I mean, they're on their game. That's why people buy PlayStation. So imagine SOCOM with all of the things that made the first two and the one for the PSP so amazing, but with updated everything, graphics, combat. You have updated world, using the processor and the power of the system. You have maybe large-scale battles that you're not used to. DankVibez agrees, SOCOM was amazing. So there's a lot of people that just forget about the game, but arguably one of the best games on PlayStation 2. Like, right up there.
I don't know.
Oh, man. Parody, what do you have to say about it, man? Let's hear it.
I never really got into that, but you said it is one of the best games for PS2. Man, what games have you played? All right, so Turok Evolution was one of my favorite games. No, I'm not even capping. I'm not capping.
I played that on GameCube, but I will say that was an amazing game.
Dude, that was a great game. And there's this game called The Suffering. I don't know if you ever played it.
That game's fire.
Yep.
That game's fire.
You're literally an inmate in prison, and then like demons start coming out. It's a really horror game. That was like by far my favorite game. It was that one. And there was this other game. I forgot what it was, but like you could kill people in the game. Like I forgot what so basically you could like walk around and you kill all the bad guys, and you can like suffocate them and like kill them all gruesomely. It's crazy. I'm trying to think of the name.
That was Manhunt.
Manhunt, dude. I love it.
Oh,
dude, I love that game, bro. I love that game.
My mom worked at Blockbuster when I was a kid up until probably just after the PSP came out. And so I pretty much played every game that came out ever during that time. So Xbox, original, PS1, 2, GameCube. I played like all the games. So yeah,
damn,
it was Manhunt. That game was fire.
That was like literally those two were my favorite of all. Then SOCOM, I mean, I didn't even play SOCOM. I just I seen it, and then like I bought the game. I think it was GameStop or Blockbuster, wherever I got it from. But when I got home, the disc was like scratched up. It looked like someone chewed on it, and it just wouldn't work. So
That's probably my copy.
Yeah, probably. It probably was a piece of shit. And I threw it out. I almost like broke my system. Like it was a bad day.
So, I mean, I get your point. There was a lot of games on PlayStation 2 that were amazing, and I think there's just too many for us to live. But I think it's based off more of a personal thing. Like back when I did get a PlayStation 2, keep in mind when I had a PlayStation 2, the Xbox 360 was just released, so I was very late to the game. But I used to play a game called .hack back in the day. I loved that game. Of course, there was SOCOM. I used to have GTA. Vice City was one of my favorite games back then. And, there was all the titles that you mentioned. So I think, it just goes back to what we're saying. When it comes to PlayStation, they've just been making good games, regardless if they were, launch exclusives or they were exclusives in the past and aren't anymore. The point is, if a game is being made solely for a PlayStation console, you better believe that Sony is going to insist that it's top tier. And they've been doing it since PlayStation 1. And
all the Metal Gears,
yeah, man. Like Metal Gear, such a good game, such a good franchise. And I mean, think about it. I think some people said, I read this on a couple of forums. I didn't play it, so I'm not going to hold an opinion to it. But people said Metal Gear only started straying off when it stopped being an exclusive. So when which one was it? Was it Phantom Pain that came out? For Xbox?
The last one that came out, the 5th one, was on both, and that game it was okay, but yeah, it wasn't as good as the other 1,000 that came before it.
And it what is it? Is it like bad luck Xbox or something? Because as soon as the game is no longer exclusive, immediately you just notice it. And Sony, just all their exclusives, and every generation up until the current generation and the new generation about to start, they just make great games, man. I think anybody who says, "Oh, I'm getting a PlayStation for exclusives," that's all you need to say, because that's 100% a truth behind of why most people do, and it's more than enough reason for anybody to spend $400 to $600 on a new PlayStation console to keep experiencing these stories. I mean, a lot of games aren't going to be made for the PS5 or for the PS4 after the PS5 comes out, because they're focusing on the future. So many games are only PS5, and they take advantage of all the hardware that doesn't exist in a PS4, even the Pro. And it's because they want to give people the best possible experience. Meanwhile, Xbox is kind of the opposite. Some games, due to their, the hardware limitations, aren't on OG Xbox, but most of them are. And if you ask me, I think that's holding a lot of them back, potential-wise. And, I mean, that's where I admire Sony. And that's why I think I'm going to keep saying it. It's a great time to be alive as a gamer, because get all the systems, truly. If you can, and you have the ability to, and you want to experience, the exclusives Microsoft has, because they are doing better with that. They did acquire a shit ton of studios, and they're working on it. If you don't have a super high-powered computer, save some money, buy either the Series S or the Series X, enjoy those exclusives, buy a PS5, you're gonna enjoy those exclusives, and enjoy the best out of both, And then at the end of the day, whatever you prefer to be on, at least you have the flexibility of choosing. And I think that's the best way to live as a gamer, and to stop the whole screw PlayStation, screw Xbox, screw PC. Nah, it's all gaming, and that's what we're here for. We're all gamers. We love gaming. I mean, hell, we sat here for almost 2 hours talking about gaming, for Christ's sake. So, I mean, I think you all can agree.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you just said. And it's going back to the exclusive thing, it's I grew up playing Spyro and Crash, and the one game that I played religiously with my brother on PlayStation was MLB Slugfest.
Oh,
I don't know if any of you guys remember that game. Him and I used to play that game religiously and play Big Head mode and all that, all the cheat codes for that. Oh man, we had a blast with that game. That's a throwback.
That game?
Yeah, that's a throwback for me. But it's
this game's like that.
Yeah.
But now, with the exclusive things, back to the Metal Gear thing, now that it came back on PlayStation and Xbox, look at stuff like Spyro, when they did the whole Spyro trilogy, and then now the Crash trilogy, and it's stuff like that. It's when the new Crash game comes out, is that going to be cross exclusive, or is that just PlayStation?
Yeah, it's gonna be on multi-plat. So, we'll see how they do with that. I mean, I guess that kind of goes into what we were saying. If it ends up not being nearly as good as the other Crash games that were exclusive to PlayStation when they were made, the remakes are just fresh paint over the original glory that was those exclusives. But if they start from fresh on a new game that's not an exclusive, it is a multi-plat, and being the fourth one, if it's the only one of the four that people say is terrible, then that goes right into
because that's Naughty Dog. That's Last of Us. That's
Uncharted.
They're not going to mess up the Crash Bandicoot.
If it is Naughty Dog, maybe it is.
Yeah, Naughty Dog's too good to mess that game up. There's no way.
Is that exclusive then?
Yeah, they're way too good.
Yeah, Naughty Dog made Crash Bandicoot, Jack and Daxter, Last of Us, Uncharted.
they're
so
the
like,
PlayStation.
Last of
games.
Us was mixed reviews, but Uncharted was probably, to me, was their best story made game they've ever made.
yeah, Uncharted was really good.
Last of Us is one of my favorite games of all time. I love that game so much.
For me though, I would honestly never buy a PS5. The only time I'd ever buy it is if they brought back all the classics and remade them, like The Suffering and Manhunt. If either of those games ever come back, because they were like rumored to make Manhunt 3 in 2021, then I'm buying a PS5.
I mean, they
I'm
could, man, because like they've only announced so many games. You know, there's a lot that Sony has yet to announce, and you better believe there's even more that have yet to be announced that are just either starting or at the early stages of production. So, I mean, definitely, if there's nothing out, like if
all I know is if they make a new Spyro, fuck Xbox. I'm going PlayStation.
Yeah, I think once the developers get their hands on the new like hardware of the new consoles, that's usually when the really fire games come out. Most likely.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right, because they have to learn the new hardware. Starched and I were talking about that in chat earlier, and we brought it up a few streams ago. But the games that come out at the beginning of a generation are always the worst looking and always the least innovative to a certain extent. Like if you go back to every console launch before the one that's upcoming, compare the day one games compared to the games towards the end of the generation, and you start to notice two things. Number one, the games at the beginning look terrible compared to the games at the end in relativity, and the games at the end look like they're struggling to keep up with the next gen consoles and the games coming out beyond that. So it's literally like a layer system, but evolution is definitely like intergenerational evolution is definitely a thing. So imagine these games 2 years from now, right? Like we have all these amazing games coming out. They look phenomenal. Dub Peak, I don't know if you saw the Unreal Engine 5 demo for the PS5. Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that.
If you get a chance, you look that up, because this is what I criticize Microsoft for. Microsoft has yet to show us any kind of high level next generation graphics like that. That isn't a game. It's not a real game, but it's the engine that will make future games on the PlayStation 5. And that demo right there is what I want to see in next generation. That uses the full power of the PS5 to its maximum extent, on top of like the geometry engine and all the other features that the PS5 has that they haven't really shown in detail specifically individually yet. That uses all of it, and it gives you a clear picture of what next generation can be. And that's a demo. That's just a demo before mastering the hardware.
I'm watching it now.
Yeah, man.
It looks
the end, I think the beginning looks really good, but towards the end, like the last 2 minutes is just mind-boggling almost. Now imagine a couple of years of getting used to knowing how to use the hardware and optimization mastering, and imagine what games will look like a few years from now using that same engine, because games are being developed with that engine as we speak that have yet to be announced. So like, I mean, towards the end of the generation even, it's just going to be a game-changing next level kind of experience. Microsoft needs to show us that. Sony did an amazing job getting people excited for that. And once you finish watching that demo, it's going to make you even more excited for PlayStation and next gen in general. And that's the kind of stuff we need to see. What's your impression? It looks stellar, right?
Crazy.
Yeah, man. Wait till the end. Wait till the main character's flying through the air for the last like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I just skipped to it. That looks wild. It looks like a movie,
exactly.
But better.
Exactly, man. So imagine that years from now when it's better managed, optimized, and on games that are just beginning development now. Like it's just, I can't imagine it. But I mean,
it'd be so crazy, especially if it makes Sims. Oh my god, a new Sims would be insane.
Not a joke. The Sims actually, you could do so much with that, like much power on Sims, like VR Sims or something.
Yeah,
it'd be dope. Like I literally have like 18 baby mamas in that game, no cap, and I don't care.
If you had the suit too, if you had the vest and the suit, and all of them rubbing on you,
that's what I'm saying. They're tweaking.
Get some chest rubs in there, Get a hand on the tummy when you gotta upset that stomach. When you're feeling a little lonely.
On fire, the vest.
Yeah, but you just you can't kiss feet in the game, so I hope they add that feature soon.
I can't even. Parody. I told everybody, I say it every stream. Those who are new to the stream, keep an eye out on Parody. He definitely adds that comic relief to the stream, so that way it's not just all business. But I mean, honestly, guys, I'm pretty much. I wrapped up just about every opinion I had with all the topics today, unless anybody else has any other like last minute things they want to throw in or any other topics they want to add in.
I think that was everything I had.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was everything except for that. I can't wait for Fable to come out.
Yeah, same. I have
Definitely
nothing.
Fable.
I have nothing else to say.
Yeah, Fable, I can't wait. I mean, it's just a matter of time, y'all. We do this every Thursday, as the chat knows. I'm going to do our outro in a second here. But over time, just the news is going to get sweeter. There's a lot we don't know yet. There's a lot we're hoping for. Time will tell. I guess patience is key, but just be excited because regardless of what platform you prefer or how you look at it, there's just a lot of crazy things to add, a lot of entertainment value that we're not used to today. And I just can't wait for everybody to see what that all means. But that being said, guys, this is one of our most successful streams so far. I've been looking on my end on my live dashboard. At one point we had over 27 different people watching the chat watching the stream at one time, and we finally broke our over 100 unique viewers in a single session. So, being the 4th time we've ever done this podcast, massively appreciated for everybody who stopped by and who's still watching and made it to the end with us. Anybody who donated, who's still here, much appreciated. That's literally what keeps us afloat and has us keep doing these streams and taking the time out of our days to continue them. The support is not expected nor necessary, but my God, do we appreciate it. And if you guys need to have some comedic relief in your life, go check out Parody Paradise's channel. He, as you would imagine, his content's all about parody. He creates music and takes video games that are trending and, combines trending music with said video game, and he'll make a song about it with a great video to complement his style. And then check out DankVibez's channel. He's also in the description. My man here, he's been making content for a while. He makes some grade A gaming content, let me tell you. And his dance moves, you got to check those out. All right. Those
I just posted something today on Let's Get It Started by Black Eyed Peas.
Did you really? I didn't even see that. Yeah, I gotta check it out.
Yeah, I did.
Chat, you know the drill. Chat. Anybody watching right now, you go down in that description. You click on DankVibez's channel. You check out that latest video. You subscribe to his channel, and you watch this man's grade A content. Hopefully, we'll be seeing you. You gonna be planning on coming back on next Thursday's show?
Yeah, for sure. I'm planning on it.
Awesome, man. Perfect. So we now have a new show member. Will be here every Thursday with us. And also check out DankVibez. It's his birthday.
Like get paid?
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And Monopoly money, of course.
I'm done
okay,
with you.
good.
I'm done with you. No, but also check out DankVibez. It's his birthday today. That's why he couldn't be with us for the whole stream. So definitely give him a birthday subscribe. Give him a subscribe, and like his content. He does a lot of streams, and his videos post after the fact, so you can watch his streams afterwards. It's all about good vibes with him. And thanks for watching the stream, y'all. We'll be here at 7 p.m. next Thursday about various random topics that we decide between now and then. But if there's any exciting news, you'll hear us talk about it, and you'll hear us announce it. So stay tuned. Thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see y'all in the next stream.
See you.